Talking about the offensive performances, the defenses of both these teams have been outstanding as well. Wyoming held Texas State to just 189 yards last week, but the Falcons going to eclipse that very early in the game. At this rate, that pass is caught and taken into the end zone for a touchdown. And Bowling Green takes an early lead as Alex Baer, their all-MAC tight end, takes it into the end zone.
Well, what happens, Greg, is when you have great threats on the outside with Cooper and Kamar, then the middle becomes open. And we talked about Alex Baer a lot. He's an extremely talented tight end. He runs just a seam post, and nobody was on him. Literally, the safeties had rotated over to the outside. He came completely free, and Schultz gave him the football.
Preseason second-team All-MAC Baer. Falcons strong at the tight end position, the extra point. And even though there was contact there, the kick was put up and over. And the Falcons lead 7-0 over Wyoming.
No safety help.
7-0 Bowling Green leading, and we talked about how strong the Wyoming defense had been. They went down the field just as easily as they did against Morgan State in the first quarter of that game last week.
Yeah, you're getting a good look, Greg, at the big tight end, Alex Baer. And the tight end is becoming more prominent in the Bowling Green offense. They recruited another local outstanding tight end, Steinmetz, who's going to redshirt from St. John's. Alex is a prototype tight end. He can get deep. He's going to beat linebackers, and he's going to beat safeties, and he certainly did in that case with his little seam post.
A Jimmy Scheidler, maybe he'll become the designated touchdown catcher for the Falcons from that tight end position.
Jimmy had that ability.
And there is a short kickoff fielded, and it's Dominic Ruffrin getting around to the 38-yard line where Wyoming will start. Let's take a look now at Wyoming's offensive starters. And they have a very potent offense, as we mentioned. We talked about the quarterback, Fred Smith. They have a number of very, very good running backs. Basically, they run by committee, but very effectively. Chris McNeil is their best receiving threat, and they are strong up front. And that's one of the big reasons why they have had so much success offensively here in the early stages of the year. We'll see them run the spread formation as we come to expect from Greg Brandon teams. And on the first play from scrimmage, it is Ruffin for 5. And let's take a look now at the Falcon defense that has played so very well in the first 2 weeks. Chris Jones anchoring the experienced defensive line, yet another area in which these teams are very similar. Going with the 2 linebacker alignment. Wayne Woods, of course, all-MAC, one of the big leaders there in the nickel package with the 5 players in the secondary.
Well, already Greg Brandon's showing you the same kind of things that he did so well at Bowling Green as a head coach. We had twins on both sides. Now we had trips with a split. You're going to get a myriad of formations. The ball's going to come out of Brett Smith's hands very rapidly.
However, a 5-yard walk-off against Wyoming basically puts them right back where they started. Smith out of the shotgun, a short pass up the middle, and they need to get back most of those 5 yards that they originally lost. It'll be 3rd and 6. There's the tackle by Boo Gates, number 24. There's an electrifying player, both defensively, made a big interception and long return last week and a great kick returner. Falcons, look at that, second best in the country behind just Florida in Division 1A in third down situations, and now they're even better as the opponents have converted now just 4 times in 29 third down attempts. You play third down defense like that, you're going to have success.
Well, that's a great call in the Bowling Green secondary. It was a sideline hit or a sideline comeback pattern, try and pick up a first down, a chain sideline. The Falcons rolled up into it, and quite honestly, Brett Smith threw it late. It was almost picked off and would have been taken to the house.
Falcons coming after that punt, and it was fielded a line drive, and what a tackle there, as getting down in a hurry was Ghali Muhammad, and he really belted Eugene Cooper. Ghali Muhammad is a converted linebacker. He's now the leading running back on this Wyoming team, and golly did he lay a hit on Cooper. These teams are very, very similar teams. You look at this, we've talked about their similarities. You can't get much closer than those numbers indicate.
Well, they are. They're mirror image. We talked about it in the open. They both run big offenses. They both spread the ball around. They've done an effective job of running it. They both have young quarterbacks that are extremely gifted.
A lot of similarities in terms of the coaches, too, as Anton Samuel looking for his third straight 100-yard game to open his career. Brian Hendricks made the stop, but after about a 7-yard gain.
Well, Anton has really been a difference maker for the Falcons thus far. That was an edge play, trying to get outside the orange crush, gave him a little bit of a crease, and he has the ability to get upfield with quickness and strength.
Remember Dave Christensen, the head coach of Wyoming, for being from University of Toledo from 92 to 2000 as offensive line and coordinator coach. And the trajectories of his time, his third season at Wyoming, and Dave Clausen in his third season at Bowling Green have been almost the same. There's a flare pass broken up and almost intercepted and taken into the end zone by Corey Jones, number 5. Last week against Texas Tech, 3 consecutive plays and a key series. He sacked the quarterback for a total of 24 yards and losses and turned the game in Wyoming's favor.
Yeah, and on that one, Corey almost not only got a block, but he could have punched it up in the air and taken it into the house. What Matt Schultz has to do on that was just a little swing pass, and he needs to loft it over the top of the big man.
Third down and 4 to go. Schultz with some time, but that pass is not well directed. Lamar Jordan wanted interference, and he's still asking for it as he was covered by Tashawn Gibson. His brother was a great defensive back for Wyoming and he's now graduated, but the Falcons failed to convert, and they'll go into their first punting situation of the day, and we'll get a look at Brian Schmidbush, who's averaging over 50 yards a punt, the former Findlay University punter.
When you get two great offenses like Bowling Green and Wyoming, the first quarter is a feeling out process of different formations, how they line up to it, how they're going to react. Then the second quarter, you should make your big plays.
Boy, a booming left foot punt. That is 63 yards by Schmidbush. And they drive them all the way back to the 12. That was a low punt, kept it out of the wind, and a tight spiral, and he placed it inside the 20-yard line.
Well, it's a lost art, Greg. If you can kick the ball out of bounds, that means 0 return. It helps your offense and defense so much. It's really one of the best offensive plays in football, and especially if you can 0 it out of bounds and have no return.
He's going to be on the Ray Guy Award watch list before long. Handoff, and they go not very far on first down. Brandon Miller came into this game tied for the leading rusher for Wyoming in this game, along with Muhammad, the converted linebacker.
Again, this is part of the feeling out process, Greg, that Wyoming's looking at a lot of formations, how Bowling Green is lining up to them, and then they're looking to take advantage of it.
2nd and 8, fake to Miller, and swung out. It looked like there was an opportunity there for Robert Huron to turn upfield, but he seemed to lose his footing, and the play goes for naught.
Well, you know, Greg, when these two teams were prepping for one another for this ball game, I'm not saying it would be easy, but it should be easier because the styles of offense are somewhat similar. Bowling Green does run the football, I think, a little bit better. But basically the formations and a lot of the tight passes are extremely similar.
Low snap on 3rd and 5. Swung out on the left for Chris McNeil, but again, very little room, and the Falcons close him down before he can reach the first down marker.
Now that play, Greg, a quick screen on the outside. People that have watched Coach Brandon at Bowling Green, we saw a lot of those quick screens on the outside with a blocker out in front, and it served him well at Bowling Green, and he's running the same thing with the Cowboys.
Gabe Martin made that stop for Bowling Green, and once again the Falcons stopped them on 3rd down. 30 attempts, only 4 third down conversions. There's a really low kick by Austin McCoy, 2-time All-Mountain West punter, picked up by Cooper in traffic, and he almost broke into the open field before he was snared by Muhammad again. That's the second time that those two have introduced each other.
You know, Greg, I think in college football, some of these Australian rugby kicks are really the special teams coaches are out thinking themselves. It becomes a low line drive kick that can be returned and kick the ball away. Allow your kick coverage team to get down there and make a stop. I think some of these rugby scrum kicks really end up hurting the special teams.
Falcons will take over in Cowboy territory at the 47. Single setback. Shotgun to Schiltz. And he's under pressure and dumped. As getting to him was Gabe Napton. And he is certainly one of the top players on this squad, entering the season number 11th in career tackles for Wyoming.
Well, that's on Matt Schiltz. You've got that clock in your head. It's like a metronome, Greg. 1,001, 1,002, 1,003. You've got to get rid of it. Either unload it, throw it away, or try to complete the pass, but you can't hold it that long.
2009, Napton was 19th in the country in tackles. And Samuel, he finds very little running room. He's grappled to the turf by Brian Hendricks. And there is probably their top player defensively, Josh Bazoons, number 44, and he's considered a professional prospect on this team.
Yeah, their press gentleman was telling us that he is an NFL prospect, legitimate for the Cowboys. Maybe a little undersized for the NFL, but there have been many stories of guys coming in that way and making careers.
Convert him to a linebacker or something. He's preseason all-conference and was all-conference last year in the Mountain West. Schiltz pass, and that is caught. First down as Kamar Jordan makes his second big catch of the game, and they got just enough on the route to make sure that they would get the first down yardage.
Well, good protection by the Orange Crush. 15-13 sideline. K-Gun stays in. He keeps his feet in, makes the catch. Great throw by Schiltz. Good protection by the Orange Crush.
In the beginning, Eugene Cooper was getting lots of room because everyone was keying on Jordan. Now maybe Jordan's going to start getting more room because everyone's keying on Cooper.
And that's how it works, Greg. You can't double everybody. That's that's an axiom in football. You really can't double everybody.
Mathematically impossible. Yeah. Here is Samuel to feel his way along a wall of blockers and find some daylight.
Greg,
he picked up a couple of yards.
I'm sorry, the mix of plays that Coach Clausen is using this year is so much better because they can run the football with Samuel. That creates play action. That allows them to do their finesse stuff on the outside. It allows them to get to the tight end. The offense they're running this year is much, much improved.
Coach Clausen has got to be pleased for the most part with the efficiency of his offense, especially that first drive. There's Samuel twisting through a narrow crevice in the line, still on his feet. I don't know if maybe he didn't have the first down and then they pushed him back. We'll have to see where the ball is spotted. But Falcons continuing to run effectively.
Anton Samuel is like putting a new engine in an old car. He's brought vitality to the Bowling Green offense. And, when you have a back that runs as well as he does, Greg, that makes the big, fat, sweaty guys up front come off the ball harder because if they know they put a hat on the man, he's going to get in the crease and get some yardage.
Make sure that Sam knows that you said that.
Yeah, there you go.
He did get the first down there. Back to throw. Schiltz scrambling out of the pocket and picked up a handful of yards before Mike Enzocha from Germany made the stop. He played for Germany in the World Junior Championships. And the Falcon running attack continues to eat up yardage. Take a look here. Last year they were last in the country, 62.8. This year you see 227.5, and both Samuel and Jordan Hopgood have a better average than the whole team had last year.
Well, that's a great graphic, and what that does is it takes the heat off the quarterback. They can't tee off on a quarterback. They must respect the rushing game.
High snap, quick pass up the middle. Adrian Hodges on the receiving end. That was a great, crisp play-action fake, and then he zipped the ball right to an open Hodges, and they're inside the 10.
Well, what becomes the problem in defending Bowling Green? Nice play-action fake. You have to respect the play-action because it can run the ball. Hodges sits down, a little hitch, and Schiltz gets it in and out of his hands very quickly.
Falcons, again, they're moving the ball almost at will, just as they did against Morgan State, but this is against a team that's come in with a much more gaudy reputation defensively than Morgan State had. So far, it hasn't mattered. Samuel off a block in the backfield, but he is stopped. Good pursuit there. He's put down by Luke Ruff, who roughed him up a little there. And no gain.
Well, just the way that the Bowling Green has gone about this offensively, this is a perfect drive for them, and it's a mix of the pass and the run, and it just equates to a different style offense this year. The rushing game has helped them immensely.
Something we've been talking about and speculating on for years, that is what the Falcons really needed to do, and Dave Clausen has been putting that in. Wildcat, Jordan Hopgood, he smelled the end zone. Almost got to it, but he was just stopped at the last moment by Mazi Agbana. Actually, Marquestin Huff on that tackle. They got a lot of double numbers on this team. Huff, the defensive player, number 2.
You know, so interesting about the Wildcat. Great call by Coach Clausen. But the Wildcat, you'd think that it'd be easier to defend. Generally, they're not going to throw the football, so you think you'd be able to key on that back in the Wildcat, but it still seems to work and be effective.
3rd and 1. Let's see if they can muscle it in. That's not usually what they tried to do from this close in. They try. Hopgood fumbled. Did he get back on the ball or not? Wyoming saying they got it. And the officials concur. The Falcons are stopped on the 1-yard line due to the fumble.
Well, that was such a great drive. I think they were trying to run a little ISO up inside with Samuel, and see if we can look at the mesh there.
Yeah, he had a huge hole, too.
A huge hole, and I'm going to put that one on Matt. It's the quarterback's responsibility. Will you give another look at it? The quarterback's responsibility to get in that pocket. He looked like he hit him on the hip a little bit with that. The rule with the quarterback, Greg, is if you're not sure on that mesh when the back goes by you, if you're not sure, well, no, you know what? Samuel didn't put his hands right. We'll come back and talk about that.
Falcons still leading just 7-0.
Or take a tour at 706 Napoleon Road.
Wyoming ball on their own 2-yard line after they escaped unscathed, but very narrowly from that last Falcon drive, and no gain there. Falcons just trying to make them punt from the end zone. Let's take another look at that miscue on the goal line.
All right, Orange Crush off the ball, reverse pivot, little isolation play inside. Let's look at Samuel's hands and see if they're right. Yeah, he's got to keep a better pocket for Matt to get the ball, and Antoine kind of closed his hands down. That's a good shot, guys. You know, and if Matt's not sure, you just keep it and you go up in the hole yourself. So that's too bad. That was a great drive.
The sad thing is you could have driven a Mack truck through the hole that was opened up.
Matt could have, if he wasn't sure about it, he could have followed him into the hole.
2nd down and 9. Hand off to Muhammad. He's made a couple of big special teams tackles. He carried the ball that time. He just got a couple of yards. The Falcons, if they can keep up their 3rd down mastery, they can force that punt from the end zone. And wholesale substitutions coming on.
Well, Greg Brandon's going to want to be careful down here, Greg. You've got a young quarterback on the road. In his own end zone, out of the gun, they're going to be careful.
As good as he's been, he's just a true freshman. And he got that pass out, though. He looked like a veteran there as he hit Dominic Ruffin. Gates knocked him right out of bounds. He's happy with the hit, but Wyoming happy that they got the 1st down. Let's go down to the sidelines to Mike Lissette.
Well, Matt Shields has been racking up his phone minutes. Just called him on the phone a few moments ago following that botched handoff. I heard him say, "My bad." From where I stood, it looked like the handoff was just a little bit low. That's sort of what happens when you have an inexperienced quarterback dealing with his team.
And we saw him on the phone a lot last week. Hopefully they got a good long-distance plan. Calling all the way up to the press box. That's a long way away. Great tackle in the backfield. That play blown up for a loss of yardage. And it was Keith Morgan breaking through to make the stop.
Yeah, good report by Mike. It did look like Matt put it on his hip a little bit, and it looked like Antoine didn't. You have to have, it's called inside arm up, so that you create a pocket for the quarterback to put the ball in, and it looked like Antoine didn't have his hands right either. So it might have been a shared fumble there, but doesn't make any difference. The end result was a turnover.
A couple of years ago, Keith Morgan stepped in for P.J. Mahone, who was a great Falcon defensive back, did a great job, and recovered an onside kick, went all the way for a touchdown against Akron a couple of years ago. That pass incomplete, and the Falcon defense into that 3rd down and long situation again.
Well, it's amazing as you look at a kid like Brett Smith, who's playing so well. Last year he was playing high school games in high school stadiums, and now he's playing at such a high level in a major college football, and you kind of wonder how these people can do this. How can these young kids come in and do this. And the reason is most of the high schools today are running these kinds of offenses and are accelerating the development of the quarterbacks.
Let's see what they can do here on 3rd and 12. He's got time, but he runs out of time. Sidestep the rush. Still under pressure. Finally corralled by 3 Falcon defenders and Boo Boo Gates. Look at that infectious enthusiasm, and he helped to create that pressure to put Smith under the gun.
Well, even though Greg, the first Falcon who put pressure and made the quarterback move up inside, didn't get the sack, it threw the timing off of the play. A lot of times people misunderstand. You don't have to sack the quarterback all the time. You make him move, make him change his timing. You disrupt the timing, and it creates the same effect.
Another punt. This time they didn't try that rugby punt that time. He put it way up in the stratosphere, and it's fair caught by Cooper.
I mean, sometimes the special teams guys, they're like mad scientists. They're in the lab cooking up different things, but sometimes they just outsmart themselves. Kick the ball away, cover it, and leave it alone.
Take a break. Bowling Green try to extend that lead when we come back. Last week, Bowling Green was moving at will. Then a turnover seemed to change that a little bit, and they stopped moving the ball quite as freely as before. We'll see whether they can just pick up where they left off despite that fumble at the goal line on the previous drive. Bayer in motion. Play action. Schultz to his left. Fires it downfield. It looked like he had Kamar Jordan, but it was just knocked away at the last moment, closely covered by Tashawn Gibson.
Yeah, that was a 13-12 comeback that Kamar ran. Good play action fake by Schultz. And Matt threw it way out of the break. He anticipated and threw before the break. And K-Gun knows he's just got to make that catch. That's a catch that he'll make most times.
Gibson's brother Marcel, a top defensive back, leaving last year, plus Chris Krasinski, who's drafted in the NFL out of that secondary last year. Handoff, Samuel broke a couple of tackles and turned a 3-yard loss into a 3-yard gain on the final play of the quarter. We head to the second. Bowling Green 7, Wyoming nothing.
BCSN, available exclusively on Buckeye Cable System, is presented by Central Catholic High School. One faith, one community, one mission. Gas Electronics. And by Monroe Superstore, Dodge Chrysler Jeep.
Ready for the start of the second quarter here in just a moment. Bowling Green on the 49 of Wyoming, and really with the exception of the fumble on the goal line and maybe the play where the two players tripped over each other for a 10-yard loss. Not a perfect game, but I would say about as good a first quarter as maybe you'd expect or hope for.
Well, Bowling Green's getting a lot of the snaps, Greg, and that means that the very potent Cowboy offense isn't able to make as many plays as they'd like. So they're dominating the time of possession, which usually equates into a pretty good offensive situation.
Here's Dave Christensen, formerly with the University of Toledo as offensive coordinator and line coach. Amazing the similarities between his career and Dave Clausen so far, both third-year coaches. I'll tell you more about that in a moment here as the Falcons line up on the 3rd and 7. Schultz under pressure, whipped the ball out, completed with a first down to Cooper after just before he got stapled to the ground by Luke Anderson on a big hit, but the Falcons moved the chains.
Talk about the maturation process of a quarterback. Watch Schultz stand in the pocket. He gets pressure right up the middle. He stands his ground and delivers the turnout on the sideline for the first down. And that's a sign of a confident, developing quarterback.
First and 10, Bowling Green, ball at the Wyoming.
Dave Christensen and Dave Clausen were both 7-6 in their first year with their respective programs, then had a big drop-off. Wyoming 3-9 last year, Bowling Green 2-10, and now they're right back Very successful start of this year as Samuel gets to the 32-yard line. The Falcons lost Willie Jeter, a great scat back from Monsignor Pace High School in Miami. Who would think that they'd get a similar player from the very same school the very next year?
Well, from the same school, Greg, but to me that's where the similarity ends. Really, Willie was a multiple cut guy. If you watch Anton Samuel, he's a one-cut guy. He gets to the hole, he sees the crease, turns up his shoulders, and that's really the kind of guy you need to move the chains.
Similar in the sense that they're both very effective.
Right. Different styles as far as carrying the football. Samuel really adds so much to this offense.
2nd and 2. Samuel again. He doesn't quite have the quicks that Jeter had, but he's, I think, a stronger running back than Giollo. Jeter was very powerful as well.
That's well said, Greg. That was a perfect example. They made a little off-tackle play. They're trying to double down and kick out on the left side and the short side there. And Samuel he's very he's almost got a stride at the point of attack. Relaxed, comfortable. He finds the crease and then gets upfield, which has helped the Falcons so much this year.
That will tend to help.
Yeah. Well, some backs, it's multiple cuts and they don't go anywhere. A lot of dances, but they don't end up anywhere.
Schultz kept sashaying forward and ended up throwing an interception to Blair Burns. And he's tearing upfield. Burns, he might go all the way. At the 40, finally is cornered. Left over Anton Samuel, and for the second time, the Falcons lose an outstanding scoring opportunity, and this time the ball's going to be deep in their side of the field, although a flag has been thrown.
Well, credit Anton Samuel. Not only is he a tremendous running back, but he saved a touchdown there. He did exactly what you're supposed to do. He ran over to the sideline, he took on the blocker, slowed the play down, and was able to make the tackle. Tremendous football play by Samuel.
10 yards from the spot of foul. First down, Wyoming.
So there is the penalty call, which is going to help a little bit for the Falcons.
All right,
but
watch
not much. You're still going to put it on the 38-yard line.
This is a no-no. This is a no-no pass. His arm was hit when he threw it, but Matt probably would want that back. He said, I shouldn't have let that go. Now watch what Samuel does. He gets over to the sideline. He takes on the blocker. He slows down the runner, stays with them right there, and makes a tackle. That's a great football play.
The problem is Schultz kept moving forward in the pocket, and he just lost his rhythm on that pass.
I think his arm was hit also.
And there's a pass and a full extension. And a good catch by Chris McNeil. And Wyoming now is in business on the 22-yard line of the Falcons. Chris McNeil, the most experienced returning receiver on this Wyoming team.
That's a great catch. Good hand extension. Take your body down and make the grab.
Just barely beat Cameron Truss down the middle. Handoff on 1st and 10. Circling the right side. And Alvester Alexander out of bounds. He was the top running back on the team last year, but they've got so much balance that he's only 4th this year, even though he's still been productive. He's now gone over the 100-yard mark here in the 3rd game of the season. 2 straight years he was Wyoming's leading rusher, Alexander. Here's his career numbers. You see, he definitely has been effective throughout his career. Another motion often see with Greg Brandon offenses. Getting away from 2 tackles. Here's Alexander again, and he showed why he was the top running back on the squad as he reversed his way back to the left and dove over for the touchdown.
Well, A Squared made a play that you watch a great back. Caught there, couldn't get wrapped up. His own man almost stops his progress, bounces it back out to the other side, gets a good block on the edge, and gets into the end zone. Boy, that's a mark of a talented back to be able to change field, change speeds, jump step, and get to the other side.
Something tells me by the end of the year he might be their leading rusher again.
That was a great play. It really was.
Chris Jones, a very sure tackler, seemed to have him.
The thing about watching Wyoming on offense, Greg, watch this. Here's the play. They're going to run a little zone read to the right side. It's blocked up. He reverses field, goes to the outside, gets a nice block on the outside to get into the corner of the end zone. Touchdown.
And that is his 24th touchdown. He's 7th in school history in that very important department. And he is quite likely to end his career in the top 10 running backs in terms of yardage in the history of the program. He showed his improvisational ability there. Not a long delay here as he gets set to try to convert to tie this game up.
The thing about Wyoming's offense, when you look at it, Greg, they're very relaxed and comfortable in their sets and what they're trying to do. Even though they have a true freshman executing the offense, they have a lot of confidence, and you have to give credit to Coach Brandon. I think he breeds that kind of offensive confidence.
Well, it's starting to turn into the kind of game you just dread. If you're in the Falcons situation, they have dominated the game.
Right.
They've got only one touchdown to show for it, 2 great scoring chances, including one that it looked like the touchdown was in the bag. They lost on turnovers. And now Wyoming, the Falcons have been bottling up early in the game. They've started to come on offensively, and you can just see the whole paradigm of this game starting to change.
That may be a book that Coach Clausen's going to read to the Falcons at halftime. You know, you've got to take advantage of. This is a good football team, Wyoming, the Cowboys, and when you get down and have a chance to score, you got to finish. This game is all about finishing drives.
They convened a council meeting or something down there on the sideline, a huge long break, just to get ready to kick this extra point. The kicker is the nephew of Pat Sullivan, who is a former Heisman Trophy winner from 1971, Daniel Sullivan. And he boots the ball through, so after that long discussion, they tie it up at 7 here at Dwight Perry Stadium. Oh, that's odd.
A little stint in the NFL. He had one of the most powerful arms ever. His problem in the NFL was maybe a little undersized, and his length of delivery time from A to B took him a while to get it wound up and out of the holster and thrown, but he was one of the all-time great college quarterbacks at Auburn.
One of several Heisman Trophy winners that didn't exactly make it big in the NFL. Kick is fielded by Stephen Dunlap on the 7. He breaks through, still on his feet, approaching midfield, and finally down at the 44-yard line. I think the Falcons needed a good return like that to inject some more life into them after they've been a little bit down here for the last several minutes.
Yeah, just a little middle wedge return, nothing fancy. If he doesn't get bumped up right here, and he could have broken it to the outside, I think he would have taken it to the house. Good blocking.
Bowling Green continues to do well offensively and their special teams. Dunlap receiving the plaudits of his teammates. And the offense back to work. They've been rolling up the yards, but 2 ill-timed turnovers have really hurt them. Shills to Jordan Hopgood, and that goes nowhere on first down.
Hopgood with the carry.
And that's Corey Jones again making that stop. He was a linebacker last year, Jones, but he ended up on the offensive line when Patrick Mertens, one of their starters, had a virus over the offseason. They redshirted him, and Gabe Napton had to move from end to tackle, and that opened up a defensive line spot for Jones. And he came up with 3 sacks on 3 plays, as we said earlier, to turn around last week's game.
That's called a promotion.
Yeah, and a deserved one. And that ball's over Cooper. He's fortunate in a way because Cody Sutton was about to really clean him up.
That was smart on Matt Shills. They rolled up into the now screen on the outside to Eugene Cooper, so Matt threw it away. I mean, that would have been a disastrous play. You know, we can't forget about Alex Bear down the middle, Greg. He was been wide open a couple of times. I think Wyoming is so conscious of the threats of K-Gun and Cooper on the outside that we might be able to get somebody down the middle pretty clean.
And we already have seen that once on the touchdown pass to Bear. Again, single setback. 3 receivers out to the left. Shills again under pressure, having to scramble forward, and he makes a completion. It took a moment for Ray Hudson to cradle the ball.
Yeah, they're going to call it off, Greg. They said that he bobbled it going out of bounds. The striper was right over there, had a great look at it. Here you go. This little turnout pattern on the sideline. Matt's holding the ball. He steps up inside, holding it a little while, finds him on the corner. Here he is bobbling it. Striper was right over there. It's a good call.
And again, that was a sure first down. If he just completed that relatively simple catch there. And the Falcons have been doing extremely well. And then one play has been undermining their efforts. Schmidbush, who made a tremendous punt his first time. And another great one here. Let's see if it's down inside the goal line. Yes, it is. And tackled in the end zone.
He's not going to give him the safety, Greg. They're saying that the momentum of the ball took him back into the end zone. And a lot of the people, Falcon favorites, are booing, but I think it's a good call by the striper.
56-yard punt. It ends up on the one.
The momentum takes him back into the end zone. Everybody's got the safety call. The striper's right there. You could have called that either way, to be honest with you. Get another look at it. Good special teams coverage. Probably could have called that either way.
Stephen Dunlap made that great return a moment ago. Now makes a great tackle on the special teams. And Schmidbush, again, he hung that punt a mile in the air and it came down on the 1 yard line. This guy is phenomenal.
What an effective weapon.
Wyoming ball again on their own 2. Second time in the game they've had to start a drive from there. Of course, the last one was because the Falcons fumbled on the 1. And Brandon Miller carries out to the 5 on first down. Wayne Woods on the tackle. 6th leading tackler in the whole nation last year.
We got to give Coach Shear some props for the special teams work. You've talked about it. We've seen an example on the kick return, the punt coverage. Some excellent special teams work by the Falcons.
2nd down and 8. Falcons again trying to stop Wyoming 3 and out close to the goal line, but for the second time, Wyoming is able to at least get one big first down. Robert Huron gets out beyond the 15-yard line.
What makes these spread offenses so difficult to defense, Greg, is they use multiple receivers. It dictates one-on-one off coverage, and the quarterback throws the ball before the break, and it's almost impossible to stop some of those timing routes if the ball is thrown right.
Wyoming starting to come to life offensively. That pass, however, was behind Dominic Ruffin. And well covered by Keith Morgan. Wyoming talked about they don't really have one player that really stands out, although Vester Alexander could be a nominee because of that great touchdown run, but they have great balance in their running attack. And Smith has been very effective in the air as well. He throws a screen out to the left and breaking into the open for a first down. Chris McNeil out near the 30-yard line.
Great execution, a little throwback screen.
Here's a look at the running back balance that we talked about. Muhammad came in as a leading rusher, the same number of yards as Miller, but 5 fewer carries. Alexander, he might be in top, as I said, before the year ends, but look at those rushing averages, too.
Well, it's smart football, Greg. They have multiple people that can carry the football for you. The running back takes a lot of punishment in this game.
He's keyed on any one player. Smith lobs that one up, and he had 2 receivers in the vicinity, Ruffin and Agbana, but neither one of them could get to the ball.
Well, to show you the savvy of Brett Smith, you get a look at the true freshman. He gets outside the pocket. He waves his receiver on. He wants him to turn up and run. And it amazes me how many times the receivers don't run through the route. They slow down and look back. Run. Your quarterback can get you the football.
2nd and 10 from the 28. For a moment, I thought that ball was just going to hang up perfectly for the receiver to run onto the ball. And here is another carry for a first down by the bruising ex-linebacker, Ghali Muhammad. And Wyoming continues to move the chains.
Well, they're getting a nice mix, a nice balance. Little run pass, and it's starting to keep the Falcons a little off balance. They don't know what's coming. Multiple formations, vis-a-vis the typical Coach Brandon things that he did here at Bowling Green.
Muhammad was a great running back in high school. He told the coaches he wanted to go back to the position. They obliged him, and it's paying off. Another completion for a first down as Huron finally gets corralled on the Falcon 40-yard line, and Wyoming is really on the move now.
Now this is a dig route, and Smith steps up and just nails this. Receiver coming all the way across the field. He really put something on that ball. It's a nice dig route. Good completion.
Aaron Foster making the stop, but not before another first down. Wyoming looking as effective as they have all game. Here's Brett Smith now. Fakes the handoff, burrows forward, but fumbles. Falcons saying they got it, and they have. So Wyoming if the same fate befall them that has twice struck the Falcons.
Yeah.
And Bowling Green with a big break, and Morgan is there again with a big play.
If you're going to criticize the spread offense, this is a zone read quarterback keep. He can either give to the back or keep. He chose to keep it. A good strip by the Bowling Green defenders. Coach Elko is going to like that strip. He stripped the quarterback. Watch this. He fakes the zone. It's a zone read. He keeps. Now here comes the strip at the end. Right there. Excellent strip. And I don't know, the weakness of that play is that asking the quarterback to run up inside the tackles with no lead blocker. You're eventually going to get your quarterback hurt. That's why they have so many multiple quarterbacks in these offenses today.
They're going to review this play, actually, to see whether he was down before they wrested the ball away from him.
The review will be, Greg, is his progress stopped? Now watch this. He's straight up. Is he stopped? Because they did strip it out. I don't think his knee was down, but they did, did they stop the progress? Watch this. Fake the zone read. Smith up inside. Now here he's stopped. He's up. They strip it right there. I don't think his knee is down. Didn't look from that angle. Again, he fakes his own read. He gets up inside. Here he is. 24 rips it out for the Falcons. His knee is not on the ground.
It's another one of those cases where he landed on top of the defensive player.
Yeah, his knee was not on the ground.
So you would not think that they would reverse this call, but as we've seen stranger things happen.
That was a great camera angle, guys. That was good.
Brett Smith was the Oregon Football Player of the Year in his career prior to coming to Wyoming. He came early last spring, and that's what gave him an inside track on the position. While they await the ruling, we can remind you that Inside the Red Zone is back for a 2-hour kickoff show. We had that kickoff show, and now we're well into the season. You can get in-depth with coaches and team leaders as they prepare for the high school football season. IRZ is seen exclusively on Buckeye Cable System.
Tremendous show. The guys do a great job.
Gil Clark, Mike Jewell, and Matt Davis.
Yep, and give Boo Boo Gates 24 credit, Greg, on the strip. He's the one that stripped it out.
And indeed, the turnover stands.
Yeah, his knees weren't down.
And that was pretty evident looking at it that it was going to be a legitimate turnover.
I just don't think you want your freshman quarterback running zone reads up inside between the tackles. That's asking a lot.
So Falcon ball on their own 34. Schultz zips one out to Kamar Jordan, but no running room after the catch. Maybe you got a couple, but that's it.
I'd like to see Samuel get back involved in running this football a little bit. It makes the offense for Bowling Green so much better because the play action then is there. The middle opens up. If you're going to win a football game, you got to take the top off the defense, which means you've got to win plays down the middle of the field. We had a big one with Bayer, but we've only had one. We need to get more.
2nd and 8 from 36. Cooper in motion on the left. Fake handoff, rolling left, and just overshoots the receiver open in the flat, James Brown. And it will be 3rd and 8.
Well, James was there. They were running a little swing out to him.
I should say Tyler Beck, another one of the double number plays. Tyler Beck, one of the many good tight ends in the Falcons.
Yeah, and I love the fact they're using the tight end more and more. Had a little tight end arrow pattern out on the sideline. He had him. Matt just missed him.
James Brown, a wide receiver. Beck, a tight end. 3rd and 8. Big conversion for the Falcons to try to get that offensive rhythm going. Caught by Jordan, and he will run for the first down. He needed another 3 or 4 yards after the catch. He got that and a little bit more before Devin Harris could corral him.
Kamar's a tremendous receiver. They're running a little dig delay underneath the K-gun. And again, those middle of the field plays, Greg, they're called volcano plays. And the reason they're called volcano plays is you take the top off of the defense. If you win the middle, for most times you're going to win the ball game.
Well, I thought you were going to say it's because it erupts.
Well, there you go. You can use that too.
Molten lava.
There you go.
1st and 10, handoff Jordan Hopgood on the misdirection, and he gets across midfield down to the Wyoming 47, and the Falcons are in enemy territory again.
Time of possession for the Falcons, those people that watch those kind of stats in the first half has been fantastic. but it's really not. It's more what you do with the time you have.
Yeah.
They've had some opportunities and they've missed. This is a nice drive, but they need to, close the screen door here and get it in the end zone.
They controlled the ball for 3/4 of the game in the opener against Idaho, and similar story against Morgan State last week, and similar story again today, but points not coming nearly as readily. They had a 37 lead by halftime against Idaho and 28-0 in the first quarter against Morgan State. Schultz spins away from pressure, looking downfield, up the middle, completion, and Bayer, there you mentioned it before, they could get him up the middle, and they do it again for another first down.
Well, I think it's going to be there all season long, and that was great presence by Schultz, plus a great chip block. Somebody inside in the orange crush, and maybe we can see this. Who chips right there? Number 4. Great chip. That play doesn't happen without that chip block, and Bayer gets right down the middle, tight end, win in the middle.
Jordan Hopgood.
Give Jordan credit. Hopgood, that's a great chip block. That play doesn't happen without him.
1st and 10. Falcons again creeping deep into Wyoming territory. Play action to Hopgood again. Schultz spins and rolls left. And under pressure, he threw the ball away. And it's really too close for Kamar Jordan, too hot to handle.
Greg, Matt's going to be a phenomenal quarterback here at Bowling Green. He's already doing great things. But he's better in the pocket. He can do a little Kansas City half roll one way or another, but when they force him out of the pocket to really scramble and throw on the run, that's not his strongest card. His strongest card is being in the pocket and delivering the ball on time.
Kind of enjoyed that reverse pivot move. You've seen it 2 or 3 times. There's a play action, quick pass up the middle and broken up. And a good defensive play by Devin Harris, just knocking the ball away from Bayer. We're out here at Deutsch Perry Stadium on the campus of Bowling Green State University. A big crowd on hand for this game between 2 unbeaten teams, Bowling Green and Wyoming. Greg Franke, Tom Cole, and Mike Lissette on the sidelines. And the Falcons have really had much the better of the overall play, but turnovers have kept them from opening up a good lead, and we're tied at 7. A slant pattern there just fails to click as they pass it in the direction of Sean Joplin, the former Southview star, but he just couldn't hold on.
Yeah, it's just a skinny post right here, and Sean knows he's going to catch that ball most times. He's got it's called labeling the ball. You put your helmet right on the ball, and Sean was sneaking a peek in the secondary. Catch it first, and go from there.
You saw his first collegiate touchdown.
Yeah, there you go.
Dancing in his head.
He'll get him, though. He's a good
soon. Schultz downfield, and that one is caught. And Hudson steps out of bounds inside the 20. He had that pass earlier for the first down that he lost. Redeems himself with the catch there.
Well, give Mark Carney, the receivers coach, credit. You notice how the Bowling Green receivers all get their hands outside their body when they catch the football. Here you get another look at it. He'll get his hands outside his body. See how the hands come out? What that allows you to do is get a split second before the defender can get into your body. That's excellent receiver coaching.
Slightly underthrown, almost allowed to Sean Gibson to pick it off, but Hudson did a good job reversing to make the catch. Now it's Hopgood surging down to the 13-yard line, and the Falcons on the move again. Mark and Zocha making the stop. Mentioned he's from Germany.
Well, give Big 71, Greg, Chip Robinson for BG. He looks like a road grader out there out in front, moving people, moving cowboys around, creating running space.
2nd down and 3, and Zocha played for Germany in the World Junior Football Championships. He actually didn't get to play high school football because he didn't have school football. He had to play for a club team in Germany and ended up coming to the United States to play college ball. There's a pass caught on the 1-yard line and in for the touchdown. And Kamar Jordan, his 2nd touchdown catch of the year, and the Falcons move back ahead.
Greg, it's a play that everybody's running today. It's a back shoulder fade, only it's thrown on a line. It's a quick back shoulder fade. Watch this. Matt takes 2 steps. He's going for the fade. Back shoulder. Touchdown. Great execution.
He did a good job shucking off the defender to Sean Gibson and getting into the end zone. Kyle Burkhart, Central Catholic product. converts, and the Falcons move back in front 14-7 over Wyoming at the Doy. Want me to throw?
In the half now, we get the ball back.
Falcons go back on top 14-7, and this game might mark the reemergence of Kamar Jordan after it was Eugene Cooper who was kind of getting the headlines the first couple of games.
Well, Greg, that's an interesting point you bring up. You know, that I think that's by design. Everybody knows that Kamar is a quality, tremendous receiver, but it's going to help Bowling Green to establish somebody on the other side, and that's Eugene Cooper. Now when you have two tremendous threats on the outside, it opens up the tight end vis-a-vis Bayer, and it also opens up the running game with Samuel. So I think the plan is in place.
And Jordan has been the main Falcon weapon through the air in this game so far. And Bowling Green has, at least for the moment, retaken control of this game.
You know, and Greg, it brings back to the, you know, after Cooper's game last week, I'm sure Wyoming, the Cowboys were saying, we got to special attention to this guy. Well, you can't double everybody. You know, so you double Coop and K-Gun's running by himself.
Hodges, Hudson, and Joplin.
Yeah, there you go.
Too. Here's a chance for a good return, but moving a little bit too much east to west, and Dominic Ruffin is stopped on the 23. Let's take another look at the scoring play in this back shoulder fade that resulted in the touchdown.
Two-step drop by Shills, and what they do is when they start to run the fade, the DB starts to move to the corner. You throw it low and away behind the receiver. The DB has no chance.
Kamar Jordan not only making the catch, but a great job fending off the defender to get into the end zone. Swung out on the right for Huron, but he is immediately toppled for no gain on the play by Boo Boo Gates. Let's go back to the sidelines to Mike Lissette.
Well, we're on the Bowling Green sideline. Not too long ago, it was the home of Wyoming offensive coordinator Greg Brandon, now obviously with Wyoming. I asked him before the game how he felt about his first game right back here at the Doyd. He told me he was a little nervous yesterday about returning. Today, though, on game day, it was just like any other game.
Long pass down the sideline. That one caught in stride, and quickly Wyoming inside the Falcon 35 as coming out of the backfield, Brandon Miller making the catch.
Boy, that was a nice toss by young true freshman Brett Smith. It looks like they're running a little wheel route out of the formation, and he hit him about as perfectly as you could. You talk about touch and pace on a ball. That was there, right there on a wheel route.
Miller, a converted wide receiver, and he certainly looked like a wide receiver on that one. And McNeil is another reception, gets inside the 25. Now, talking about Greg Brandon again, of course, something has to tell me it's not just any other game for him.
Nice report by Mike, but that's coach speak. When he's telling you it's just any other game, absolutely untrue. He's been pointing to this game. He's been thinking about this game. He wants to beat his former team and some of the former players that are still on the roster. That's absolutely untrue. This is extremely important to him.
3 bowl games he took the Falcons to, at a 2-1 record in those bowl games. Here's a quote from earlier in the week from Greg Brandon, and basically he says that on the whole you'd have to say that he did a positive job with this team, and I think if you look at the record, he's 44-30 lifetime, and compare it to, as he says, with a lot of other things going on in the country, he has really nothing to be ashamed of for his job at Bowling Green, to say the least.
Greg, I think he's absolutely right. I think he did an outstanding job here at Bowling Green. Coaching is like being a head coach, like riding a motorcycle. If you ride it long enough, you're going to have an accident, and the accident is eventually you move on to another. You move on to another job, and the caveat he puts at the end about, we had some issues. You know what? Who doesn't have issues today in college football? Name me a university that doesn't have to suspend players, doesn't have some issues. He did a fine job here at Bowling Green.
Here's a look at his overall record. You see the 3 bowl games. He also had some big wins. They defeated Purdue back in 2003. They beat Minnesota at Minnesota in 2007. They won at Pitt when they were a top 25 team. And I think during that era, and prior to that, when Urban Meyer was here, of course, he was an assistant under Urban Meyer. It becomes, we see a player down and being attended to. Hopefully he'll be all right. But it became almost commonplace to see Bowling Green and other MAC teams have great success against nationally prominent opposition.
Greg, the MAC has been called for a long time the cradle of coaches, and that's just one example of how many great coaches exist and have existed in the MAC.
As they continue to work on him down there on the sideline, let's take a break. We'll be right back on BCSN. Looks like number 43, Brian Thomas, is going to have to be carted off the field, so that is an anxious sight to see. Hopefully he'll be all right, and he gets a warm, appreciative round of applause from the Falcon spectators here.
Well, sometimes you forget, Greg, what a tough physical game this really is, and it's not badminton. I'll tell you that. You're going to get banged around a little bit.
Certainly get bad at times. 2 and 2nd and 7, and a pass, open receiver, but it was just underthrown, and the ball didn't reach Robert Huron, or they'd have a first down on the 2-yard line.
You know what, though, Greg, on that ball, Smith threw that exactly really where he had to throw it. It was low and away, but it was a place in which only his receiver could get it, nobody else could, and he had to make a great play on it, couldn't come up with it.
Huron, the receiver, made the state track meet in 4 events in high school. Obviously great speed. There's a fade into the end zone, and the ball is overthrown from intended receiver Matt Verkinus, and the Falcons have held. It will be 4th down and 7.
Good job by the Falcon D. They tried to run that little wheel route again, Greg, the one they hit previously to get down there, and they just came up a little short on that.
And so Daniel Sullivan will try to convert a field goal attempt from 37 yards away that would cut the Falcon lead to 14-10. And the kick is up, but he misses wide. And so Wyoming sees that drive go by the boards, and the Falcons maintain their 7-point lead. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Yeah, they're calling. Back here, and the Falcons get hit with a 10-yard penalty. So we're going to have a 1st and 20. And they're back on their own 10-yard line. Anton Samuel, he's had another outstanding game here. You kind of think, well, maybe he's going to come back to earth, the freshman, but he continues to impress out here.
No, he's the real deal. He's got a gliding style at the hole. He's very effective at finding the crease, and then once he does, to get up inside, turn his shoulders, he can take a little punishment. He runs bigger than he is. I mean, this young man's going to be a star in this league.
And he gets 4 yards there. Let's go down to Mike Lissette. He's got some information on the injury.
Brian Thomas carted off the field a moment ago. Looked like he got undercut at the knees. I spoke to the trainer. He shook his head. It does not look good. His brother was down here as well. Concerned. We'll have more updates when we know on Brian Thomas.
Well, certainly very unfortunate news there. And it goes with the territory in this game, unfortunately. There goes Samuel again. And he looks like he slipped and his knee might have gone down before he began his move upfield. Little or no gain on the play.
He just has a very smooth style about him, Greggy. You know, some of those type runners don't look like they're moving that fast because they're so smooth. He's extremely smooth. He has a gliding kind of pitch to the hole, and then again, once he spots the crease, turns his shoulders and gets up.
Yeah, Jeter ran with short, choppy strides like an electric train.
Exactly.
Join Blade Sports editor Frank Corso and Tom Cole on Rant and Rage every Thursday at 7 p.m. and be a part of the discussion. Rant and Rage is only seen on BCSN, exclusively on Buckeye Cable System. Falcons, the 14-7 lead. I think it's been a well-played game. Both teams executing very well, with the single exception that they've both been guilty of making mistakes at key times.
Well, Norman Rockwell was painting a picture on what college football is. You look at these stands, the sun's out, the family atmosphere here. Pretty cool Saturday for college football, Bowling Green.
Speaking of rant and rage, why was Norm Van Ness going to punch your lights out? I've always been curious to ask you that.
I said bad things about him.
Schultz with a pass, and Wyoming defenders signaling incomplete as the ball reached Kamar Jordan, but indeed they did break it up. Good coverage by Tashawn Gibson, and that will force a punting situation. Tashawn Gibson entered this season. He's now made 40 consecutive starts. He led the team in pass breakups. His honorable mention All Mountain West Conference last year.
When the Open, Greg, you talked about the similarities of these two teams and showed it graphically, but boy, we're seeing it played out right in front of us. I mean, they are just extremely similar, offensively, defensively.
It's been graphically shown out here on the field.
Yeah, art imitates life, or life imitates art. I don't know which one that is, but
just tremendous punt by Brian Schmidbush. If he's not the top punter in the nation after this game, then I don't know what to say. That is a 60-yard punt with no return.
What a lot of people, that's it, Greg. What a lot of people don't understand, it's one of the great offensive plays in football. Just punting the football isn't a bad thing when you can do that, when you can change field position in that fashion. Brian's done an exceptional job.
Well, we know his secret. He grew up in Dave Meyer's neighborhood, and I think Dave must have gave him some surreptitious punting
Dave gave
lessons
some kind of
up.
punting lessons. We'll have to ask Dave about that. Brian's done a wonderful job.
Fine football SID.
Yeah, Dave Meyer's great.
Pass out on the right to Ghali Muhammad. They pick up a handful of yards. Down under 2 minutes in the first half, 1:46 on the clock, so they'll have to utilize some clock management here perhaps on this drive.
Well, you got a true freshman quarterback with 1:46 on the clock, and he gets a chance to run the 2-minute offense.
2 timeouts left. They throw the ball deep. What a catch, what a hit. Knocked the ball right loose. Aaron Foster just jarred Robert Hurd. He had just made a circus catch, or so it appeared, but instead the lights got turned out on him.
That'll knock your toenails off. Oh, watch this. They're running a skinny post down here, and watch this. Boom! Oh, you better check your toenails on that one. That's a great hit. It makes people not want to go down the middle, I'll tell you that. Wow.
It's like a Jack Tatum special there.
Oh, my.
3rd and 6. There's a completion. Trying to sprint his way.
Great job
first
keeping
down
him in
yardage,
bounds, Greg.
But Brett Smith's pass fails to result in the first down as Dwayne Woods ran down Trey Norman there just a yard before the first down was attained.
And the Falcons tackled him inbounds. The Cowboy was trying to get out of bounds, and the Falcons tackled him inbounds.
And as a result, the clock is still running.
Yep.
4th and 1. Even if they make this, they're going to lose precious time to try to continue the drive.
Well, kind of interesting call. I mean, the 4th and 1 here.
Not sure I'd do this on your own 36.
I just don't.
And I don't think they're going to do it.
I don't know. That's an interesting.
They're going to talk it over very wisely.
They might want to double check that call.
I would say that most football strategy books would not recommend going for it. But boy, that hit by Aaron Foster.
Is that one of the biggest hits we've seen in a long time? Wow.
And it spoiled what would have been a highlight reel catch, too.
Oh. Boy, if you have cat teeth, you better be checking the ground because, boy, that's a rattler. Wow.
Wyoming, there might be a situation where they're just as well to punt the ball away and try to get into the first half in no worse situation.
Yeah, I don't get going for it there, Greg. I understand having confidence in your offense, and if you get it, that's great. But with 53 on the clock, 53 seconds, and you don't make it, you'd give Bowling Green a primetime opportunity. Here you go.
They're reviewing the spot to see whether maybe he got the first down. Take a look at it. It was a dead sprint.
But look,
it looked like he might have had it, but he was stopped there. And a good play by Gabe Martin as he really closed down on the football. Wyoming, mentioned they're number 10 in the nation in total offense coming into this game. They're also the number 12 ranked rushing team and the number 35 ranked passing team. Brett Smith entered this game 25th in the nation in passing yards. And I think really getting back to talking about Greg Brandon, no small amount of credit has to be due the first-year offensive coordinator for that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you you're bringing in a high school quarterback and he's playing at this level, that's not too bad.
There he is right there on the sidelines.
Yep. But when Greg's saying that this is just another game for him, not true. He circled that on the schedule long before the season started.
You know, he came so close to taking his team to a 4th bowl game. You remember that night, that cold, frigid night when Buffalo was in town with the Mackey's title on the line. The Falcons had a 20-point lead in the 4th quarter in that game.
Yeah, you had the window open that day, as I recall.
Yeah.
About 37 below zero with a 40-mile-an-hour wind.
Well, you gave me the book where Pat Summerall said he always kept the window open, and I just took it to heart. So you got to look in the mirror for that.
I almost threw you out the window
Never should have gotten me that book.
I seriously thought about throwing you out of the window in the 3rd quarter.
Well, this is, again, almost much ado about nothing. If they give them the first down, well, fine, it's first down, but less than a minute, they're on their 36, but they're not going to give it to them anyway. So it is going to be a punting situation here. Austin Coy will kick it away. And the Falcons may have an opportunity here with decent field position to tack on a few extra points going into the halftime locker room. But just like that discussion before the extra point earlier, this has taken almost as long as it took to play the whole first half.
You want to get it right, and the Stripers are doing
they're going to stop the proceedings again here.
Some of the Falcon favorites are
offering
suggestions to what the Stripers could be doing. I don't know if we can repeat those suggestions, but probably not.
Well, they have a quorum down there, so they can make a decision. I think there might be some technical issues with the on-field microphone. I think the stop was made about 15 minutes ago.
Oh, boy. We're trying to reset the game clock, I believe.
The really 4 seconds came off.
Yeah.
It was 53 and change.
I'm trying to reset it.
Well, next week, as you see this discussion, Wyoming is facing the biggest game in their school's history. Nebraska is coming to Wyoming. And see Marvell July talking this over here in mid-September.
Better wear 2 chin straps in that ball game.
And next week,
Nebraska's pretty physical.
So obviously it's important for Wyoming that they perform well in this game. Last year they played the number 3, 4, and 5 teams in the country. They had the 9th toughest schedule in the nation.
They got Boise State looming on their schedule also, besides Nebraska.
Got to hand it to Toledo for giving them a good tussle last night at the Glass Bowl.
Yeah, and to play Ohio State at Ohio State and really could have beaten them in the last 50-some seconds of the game, and then in a short week come back and play a team of the caliber of Boise State.
They made 2 key turnovers deep in Boise State territory that turned the game around. Now Dave Clausen's coming on and says, what's going on here?
Yep.
Let's get this show on the road. Something to that effect. I can't recall this lengthy a stoppage in play for such a seemingly innocuous situation in all the years watching football. And the question, I think, it has to do with the clock.
Yeah.
Should it be running or not? Dave Clausen would obviously say he doesn't want that.
Well, they'll get it sorted out.
It was helpful to Bowling Green in the sense that so much time got taken off the clock when Wyoming was thinking maybe they had the first down. That was going to hurt Wyoming because they wouldn't have as much time. Now they'd like more time.
Yeah, this was good, like detente out here. I mean, it's not that complicated of a decision. Just make a decision and move on.
I'll tell you what, Dave Clausen, he does not look pacified yet.
No. Give the Stripers credit, Greg. They're explaining it. At least they're trying to explain it.
Dave, he's shown himself to be pretty good at gamesmanship over the years. He is very often deliver a message to the officials at one point. We saw that last week a little bit when some calls were not to his liking, and then maybe he gets one later. And here he fights for his team.
Coach Clausen may have a little lawyer in him. He's doing some lawyering out here. He's presenting a case to the Stripers and trying to get his point across.
Well,
he may be filing a motion right now.
I think there's an injunction of some kind.
Filing a motion to...
There's some restlessness in the stands here.
Yeah. But the guy's got to make a decision. You got to make a decision, guys. It should be a yay or nay, and let's go.
Here's a look at Coach Clausen's record. Yeah, it's interesting. You look at his career record, 11-16.
Yeah.
7-9 in the MAC.
That's
is
deceiving,
completely
Greg.
unrepresentative of the success that he's had here.
Yeah, it really is. He's completely turned this roster around, young freshmen and sophomores, but certainly added a new physicality to the roster that wasn't there. Under Greg Brandon, they were a finesse team, and Coach Clausen is changing that to where they can run the football. They can be physical up front on both sides, and I think to the betterment of certainly the Falcon football organization.
He did not have the same material when he took over at Fordham and Richmond, so he had poor opening years and then turned those programs around 180 degrees. He had 1 year where he had a lot of the leftover talent, Kyle Sheehan, Freddie Barnes and company, so he had more success that year. And then last year was more analogous to his first years in his previous coaching stints. And so I think that he's begun the process of rebuilding just as he did at those other schools.
Well said. And Coach Clausen's a pretty good lawyer because they put a little additional time on the clock.
Well, he got
so he won that
7+
case.
seconds.
Yeah, he won that case.
Here we go with the punt, finally. And they're going to let that one roll dead. So the Falcons are not going to really have particularly good field position with only 42.8 seconds to go. They'll take over on their own 17. So after all of that,
48-yard
Falcons finally take over. Matt Schill's another strong effort here in the first half, and they'd have more points on the board if it wasn't for the 2 turnovers.
Well, he's getting the ball in and out of his hands very quickly. Got Bayer down the middle seam. Again, look at how quickly the ball comes out of his hands. Pace from A to B. Back shoulder fade. There it is. What great back shoulder fade. Great camera.
The only real mistake he made was that play where he sashayed forward and threw the ball right to Blair for the interception. But other than that, he has been very, very efficient and effective for the Falcons. Hopgood gets out. 6
Falcon fans, let's
numbers.
take a quick look at the
12 for
scoreboard
22, 172 yards,
Sponsored by
2 touchdowns. The 1 interception is the play we were mentioning.
Well, the most difficult thing to teach a young quarterback is to throw the football away. He forced one, and that cost him, and it's just something that you learn.
And that will do it for the first half. And the Falcons, even though I think probably on balance they deserve a little bit better fate than merely a 1-touchdown lead, still have to say a solid performance against a very tough opponent here in the first half.
Very similar opponent, same styles. Teams are very, very similar. Great effort on both sides, and it's going to be a terrific second half.
So the Falcons with that 1-touchdown lead, we will get a chance to collar Coach Clausen here for a moment with Mike Lissette down on the sidelines. But Bowling Green has done a good job moving the football against a Wyoming defense that was very impressive statistically coming into this game. And they've moved the ball almost at will at times, and they've also kept that Wyoming offense from going off on it.
Greg, this is a young, talented Falcon football team, and there are going to be very, very good things that are going to occur this year. All the orange out here, and we talked about a Norman Rockwell painting. It's what college football is all about. Families, orange out here, the band, the cheerleaders. This is a very cool portrait.
All right, let's go down to the sidelines. Mike Lissette standing by with Coach Clausen.
Well, Coach, you moved the football in the first half. You just were not able to put as much points up on the board as you'd probably like. Your thoughts on how things went down?
Well, we moved the ball well on offense, but we had 2 red zone turnovers. You can't turn the ball on the 1, and then we turned it over inside the 10. And on defense, we're playing well, but we missed a big tackle in the backfield that led to their touchdown, and we gave up a cheap one down the sideline. So we're playing well. The score, I don't think, indicates how well we're playing, and we've got to clean up the turnovers. 2 relatively easy wins as far as the scoreboard shows, your first 2 games. This game you're being challenged. You concerned how your team's going to respond in the second half? Well, we'll find out. I mean, the two first games that we weren't in a tight game in the second half, and we knew we weren't going to go the whole season, so we've got to buckle up and be ready to play 60 minutes. All right, Coach, good luck in the second half. Thank you very much, guys.
And echoed what we said. They're playing well, but they got to clean up the turnovers. Falcons 14-7 leading at the half. Second half about to get underway. Falcons will be kicking off to Wyoming. Before the second half begins, we want to just make one note. It's called to our attention that we had been showing an incorrect graphic for the Wyoming Cowboys earlier in the game. So we want to apologize to anybody who noted that in the Wyoming community. And ready to begin the second half now here. And if the first half is any indication, this one could come down to the wire here, Tom.
Well, we keep saying it, but very similar teams offensively and defensively, and the scoreboard indicates that.
Kickoff by Kyle Burkhart, fielded on the 3-yard line. Chugging it back upfield, breaking the tackle at the 20, and it is Muhammad. He sure doesn't run like an ex-linebacker. He got out to the 45-yard line.
Yeah, he moves pretty well. The kids today are so athletic. Years ago a linebacker was a linebacker and couldn't nice move in the outside, getting to the edge. A linebacker couldn't do anything but fill the hole and be a linebacker. Today the kids are so athletic, you can move them to a lot of different positions. They got a block in the back.
But as happens on just about every good return.
We talk about that. They're taking the fun out of the kicking game because there's so many penalties on it.
By the way, Muhammad gets his talent, comes by it honestly. His cousin Martin Rucker was a great tight end at Missouri from 2004 to 7, and his cousin Mike Rucker was a fine defensive end for Nebraska from 95 to 98. So he definitely has the background to be a great football player. And first play from scrimmage, so instead of starting on the 45, they start on the 8, and they're not going to get much beyond the 8 on that first play from scrimmage. Let's look at the drive breakdown for Wyoming. You see they really had a hard time getting it together. 9, 9, 10, and then all of a sudden you see these big yards on their drives. The last one was in the very waning seconds, but that fumble and missed field goal hurt them as much as the 2 turnovers hurt the Falcons.
But credit the Falcon defense for creating a lot of those early 3-and-outs, Greg, and the less opportunities that Wyoming has to move the ball, the better.
That one is winged out, complete to Maziak Bono, who's one of their top receivers, but Cameron Truss is there to stop him before he can add more to that gain.
Greg, that penalty on the kick return by the Cowboys, that ended up being about a 45-yard penalty. That's going to upset a lot of head coaches.
Cameron Truss has really emerged as one of the most experienced of the Falcons secondary men. Bono made that catch, an outstanding transfer from Snow Community College in Utah. And here is a ramble by Brett Smith, and he is out of bounds. But not before he chalks up another first down.
Well, everybody that runs this spread offense loves this play. It's a little zone read. Quarterback makes a fake, and he keeps it up inside the tackles. But, boy, I tell you what, if you run that zone read with the quarterback keep enough, you better have 4 or 5 quarterbacks on your roster because eventually they're not getting up. You can't run the quarterback up inside that much.
Snow Community College in Utah, that's where Damon Powell is heading. Give you another impact player there. And there is an impact tackle as Dwayne Woods shows why he was one of the top tacklers in the country as he just exploded Robert Heron on that play. He had a good head of steam going, and then all of a sudden that was the end of it.
Well, the Falcon defense has contained a pretty powerful offense today, keeping the Cowboys to 7 on the board in the first half. That's a stalwart effort.
Fake to Muhammad. Smith going deep. He's got a receiver open, and the pass is hauled in by Ugbana at the 25-yard line. Wrestled to the ground. but not before they get down to the Falcon 24. Devin McCoy on the tackle.
Well, good play action. They pull one of the big, fat, sweaty guys out front to make a nice block. They have seam post. Brett puts it up there, pulls it down. Nice play.
McCoy had him pretty well covered, but there was just enough daylight there to account for the completion.
Well, and it's one of those plays where you try to take the top off the defense, win it in the middle.
One of those volcano.
That's a volcano play right
and
there.
And it did erupt that time.
Yeah, there you go. You wanted to get that in there, I could tell. No, you got to have some explosive plays down the middle to win ball games.
So an illegal procedure walk off. That's not going to help Wyoming's cause. They still have it good shape on the Falcon 30, although it's 1st and 15 now. Smith was the top football player of the year in Oregon. They've got another blue chip quarterback in Adam Pitzer. They're going to redshirt him this year around the left end. And Agbana once again gets the ball in his hands. He gets back just past the original line of scrimmage. The reason Smith is in this position, and Pitzer was a very talented quarterback, is because he came to the school early in the spring and he got a head start against the other freshmen in knowing the plays and learning the system. And that's proven very valuable, obviously, for him. Something that's happening more and more in collegiate football. Fake handoff, swing it out to McNeil. And he surges inside the 20-yard line to the 18, but it will be not enough for the first down.
Well, they keep running that now screen, and they call it a now screen because the quarterback barely has the ball in his hands, and he flips it out now to the wide receiver who has a blocker in front of him. It's a quick screen. It's a now screen. They ran 2 in a row, and they're going to keep running those plays until you roll up into them.
Yeah, the later screen is usually too late. 3rd and 4. Here we go. The Falcons trying to continue their great defensive play in these critical 3rd down situations. And this is really critical with the ball at the 19. Under pressure, Smith, but he got it underneath for the completion. Agbana inside the 10 down to the 5. And dances his way past 3 tacklers, and it's 1st and goal.
You want to look at the maturation of a young quarterback. Look at the pressure. Gates is bearing down on him. Smith stands in the pocket and finds his man.
There was some good running after the catch there.
They brought the pressure off the edge, extreme pressure by Gates, and Smith just stood there, waited his time, and hit the delay underneath.
Spotted on the 6. 1st and goal. Handoff around the end, and that again is Alexander. No, it was Muhammad. And just as Alexander did earlier, he dove to the pin and made it. And the Cowboys are within a conversion of tying the game.
Nice drive for the Cowboys. Mix of pass run, good play action, little edge play on the outside, and going for the pylon.
These players are so similar.
Yep.
Similar looking. That was the same play to the other side that scored the first time.
Good mix of play calling by Coach Brandon.
And I really think that they utilized the running game a lot more than he did when he was calling the signals for Bowling Green.
No question.
And Sullivan's kick is good, and we are tied with 10:20 to go in the 3rd quarter. So an impressive drive there by Wyoming. And they go 7 plays, 91 yards, culminated with the 6-yard touchdown run. And the Falcons, even though they've appeared to have the upper hand for almost this entire afternoon, look at the scoreboard and it's all even again.
Well, Greg, the key to that drive was the play where Brett Smith stood in the pocket. Boo Boo Gates was coming off the edge with a corner blitz and had a direct beat on him, and he stood his ground, waited for the delay under pattern to clear, delivered it, and took a hit. That's the maturation of a talented young quarterback.
He doesn't have a big cannon of an arm, but he gets it out there. But, the last 2 drives in a row, he's had a completion well downfield.
But that's really a misnomer about the quarterback position. It's more anticipation and timing, not necessarily, you don't have to have the powerful gun.
And then the ball is fumbled off the kickoff, and Wyoming has come up with it again. At least if they are correct in their gesticulations. The officials are going to see if they confirm. Still haven't seen. Yes, now it's Wyoming ball.
Well, what happens here is I think that on the return it was high and short. The ball was kicked high and short. And I think the Falcon was taking and going to sneak a quick little peek at what was coming down. And anytime you take your head off the ball, don't label the ball, that's trouble.
So Wyoming now with a golden opportunity to take the lead in the game.
Yeah, and you teach this all the time, Greg, sudden change. You teach your kids is a turnover, a sudden change, and then you have to get the defense right back on there and play football.
Unfortunate, Falcons would have had great field position. That ball was fielded on the 30, and I think they had at least 10 or 15 yards on the return. The first down pass incomplete. It will be 2nd and 10.
All the college teams practice this, Greg. Sudden change, turnover, you run out onto the field, and the defense just has to get ready and play.
Look at that. 18 completions to 7 different receivers, and when you have that many weapons, it's going to be tough for the defense to know how to defend you. And here's a handoff. Cutting inside. We're about 3 or 4 yards for Brandon Miller.
Well, the Falcon defense can hold them to a field goal attempt in this drive. That will be very, very good if they can keep them out of the end zone.
Brandon Miller, one of many players out of Colorado. Outstanding players on this Wyoming squad. We've got a lot of guys on this team that were highly recruited by some really top-level schools, but bypassed them to go to Wyoming. Coach Christensen doing a great job recruiting. And there's a pass complete for another first down to Agbana. And Smith is starting to very quietly pick this Falcon secondary apart.
Well, it's not a mystery. They put multiple receivers out there. They underwear you. They spread you out. It creates one-on-one coverage. And the receivers run down and run little hitch patterns. They drive down 5 or 6 steps and turn around quick shoulder, and Smith delivers the football.
1st and 10 on the 19. Just too many mistakes by the Falcons. 3 crucial turnovers now. Here they've got a chance if they can corral them in the backfield, and they do. Manage to knock Miller off his pins for a 3-yard loss on the play.
Well, that's a great example of attacking. They're trying to get to the edge here, and you're supposed to work inside out as a defense. See them come inside out, keep that leverage, bam. That's the way to close it out.
Wayne Woods got that claw out.
Yep. Inside out. See their pursuit.
Grabbed him by the jersey.
Their pursuit, Greg, is inside out, and that's what you have to do. That prevented a big play.
Boo Boo Gates got in on him very quickly. Boy, he plays with high energy, Gates does. 2nd and 12. He placed it on the 21. They're going to go for the flea flicker here. Dangerous. Almost intercepted, but at least broken up. The Falcons expected some trick plays today. Cameron Truss was able to defend that pass, and had he been able to pick it off, it would have been a foot race the other way.
Well, that play is positively 4th Street by Greg Brandon. He's in the basement mixing up some medicine. It's a sweep throwback to the quarterback, and Greg's noted for those kind of plays. And obviously Bowling Green knew that, and they rolled right up into it. They're lucky that wasn't fit.
So we now know that he hasn't changed that much, at least in that respect.
There you go.
They're running the ball a little bit more aggressively than they used to. 3rd and 12, another big 3rd down play. Smith out of the pocket, directs it upfield, complete, and they get the first down again.
Boy.
As he just was able to find his target downfield, Colby Kierkegaard.
Well, this is all the young quarterback, Greg. You watch Smith in the pocket. He moves around a little bit to buy time. Then he steps up, brings the defense toward him like a point guard, and then drops it off. And again, one of those middle plays.
No, just one. James Caraway, number 1, as opposed to Kierkegaard, 11, making the catch. And not much there on the 1st and goal. But Wyoming really threatening to take the lead now.
And you can see this Cowboy offense, Greg, once they get in a rhythm and have a feel for what they're doing, they run their little hitches, they run their little now screens, they run the ball effectively, a little play action. Boy, I'll tell you what, it's tough to get the ball away from them. They're pretty good.
Second and 6. And slant there, caught by Agbana. He has really come to the forefront as a target for Smith's passes, and he managed to get down to the 2-yard line.
Well, they ran that little inside bubble screen down that tight in the end zone. Interesting call, kind of an unusual call because it's so congested down there, but they were still able to complete it.
3rd and 2. The Falcons, who came in second in the nation, so you see Agbana's numbers, and most of them have come recently. Falcons came into this game second in the nation in third down defense behind only Florida, but they've been burned on a couple of third downs, and now they've got to come up big on 3rd and 2.
Falcons need to dial up some pressure here. They need to bring some people.
Smith rolls right, open receiver dropped right in the hands of Robert Hearn. He had the lead and let it slip through his fingers.
Well,
what can you say?
That's great design. Little half roll to the right, bring the defense to you. It's pitch and catch. It made him turn around. It was a little bit behind him, but he's going to make that catch 19 out of 20 times.
Who hasn't that happened to at some point in time? Happens to the best of them. Of course, Sean Joplin, another great receiver. He had one that looked like it could have gone for a touchdown, but couldn't quite bring it in. They're going for it on 4th and 2. This is the play of the game so far. Smith up the middle, and they corral him. He tries to get over with the second effort, but he doesn't make it. And the Falcons come up huge on the goal line.
Well, if there's a weakness to the spread offense, we've seen it in the past. When you get down into the red zone and everything gets constricted and they've got to run the football, a little play action on the zone read, and you're bringing their quarterback up inside with all the beef eaters with no lead blocking, but that's a tall task. You're asking a lot for a young kid to carry that in between the beef eaters.
Kevin Moore made the initial contact, and his teammates were right there to assist. And the Falcons do what Wyoming had done twice earlier in the game, taking over on their own too, but after averting an opposing score. Schultz with a handoff, and they'll just cautiously get it a little bit further away from their own end zone out to the 5-yard line as Samuel takes it there.
Well, Wyoming had the ball so long in that drive. Your offense is sitting on the bench. You lose your rhythm. You lose your timing. The Falcons need to get some first downs, move the chains, and get that feel back and that tempo back of moving the ball because they've kind of gotten out of that sync.
That's exactly what we were talking about earlier. Those turnovers seem to get them out of their rhythm, and that happens fairly often. Again, they go to Samuel, and again, very little daylight. The ball's on the ground, picked up, and it's waltzed into the end zone by Agbana. And the Falcons once again implode a huge turnover, and this time they turn it into a touchdown.
It's just an off-tackle play. The ball's stripped out, just like you teach all the defensive people to do today. They club it from the inside. It's laying on the ground. You pick it up and you walk it in.
And Bowling Green has done everything to win this game, but it's just been 3 or 4 plays to kill them. But they're going to review this. Kept looking up to see the points go on the board. They were already lined up for the extra point attempt, but they're going to see whether indeed he was down. And it's going to come down to when did the ball get jarred loose.
Yeah. You almost need to see it. You got to see it in real time, because you don't get a sense of it. You need to see it in real time.
Now, this is going to be a very pivotal decision. And if some of the previous stoppages in play we've had in this game, we got to settle down for a
nice
long
you're going to get a look
siesta.
Here. All right, here you go. Off tackle, in the hole. See that angle? From that angle, it looks like he was down.
Yeah, the ball spurted out after he was down. The question is, did he have control of it prior to that?
Well, and he looked like he was down from that angle. But
of course, it has to be definitive to overturn the initial ruling, which was touchdown.
Yeah. The previous angle we looked at it looked more like a fumble. So, and again, when you see it in real time, it's a little different.
Yeah, 2 angles seem to tell
two different stories.
All right,
here you
exactly.
Go. All right, they're running off tackle. Up in the hole.
You really can't tell from the angle when the ball came loose. And there it is, though.
Yeah, that is really tough.
I'll be surprised if they overturn this, but I've been surprised before quite a few times, to be honest with you.
I'm surprised if I find my way home at night.
Yeah.
So, that's going to be a tough one.
But they're going to make sure they get it right. Obviously, such a key play in the game. But they call it a touchdown. Didn't take a lot of deliberating. And now the Falcons go from the frying pan to the fire. They lost their 14-7 lead, and just like that, they are now trailing in this game.
Well, if you're going to be a good football team, which the Falcons are, Greg, you're going to have to deal with adversity. That's part of the deal. And sometimes you're going to get breaks, and sometimes they're going to go against you. So that went against them. They've got to regroup and come out and get put a boss drive together and tie the ball game up.
The Cowboys rustled the football away, and they now have a 21-14 margin. Falcons have to fight back here. Wyoming has gone ahead on a touchdown by Marquestin Huff. 21-14 over the Falcons. Well, don't wait around for Friday night football scores. Get more high school football coverage before anyone else does on the T-Sports Report every Friday at 10:30 p.m. with those 5 distinguished-looking gentlemen there, with the exception of the guy second to right.
I think there's only 4 distinguished gentlemen in there.
Well, maybe the guy in the middle, too. I don't know about that, but 3 of them at least.
All right, that's fair.
And 5:42 to go third quarter. The Falcons, they really now have to answer the bell. There's the touchdown score. Again, they have 2 number 2s. They have several players wearing the same number.
Multiple numbers.
That was Marquestin Huff, the defensive player, the cornerback who scored it after Ogbonna, the other number 2, has really been key as a receiver to spark this comeback. And again, a short kickoff is fumbled. Gates got back on it, and then he ran into a brick wall, and hopefully for the Falcons he was still able to keep the ball in his possession. But again, the Falcons have been shooting themselves in the foot. Dunlap, that was, on the attempted return.
Well, Greg, for the people who don't understand why coaches talk so much about special teams, we've seen good special teams play in the first half by the Falcons. The second half, we've had some gaffes, and the special teams will kill you. They will cost you football games, and a lot of people don't understand the hidden yardage there and what special teams play means, but it is essential.
2 kickoffs in a row that looked like would result in good field position have resulted in, first one, disaster, and the second one, not very good field position. Starting on their own 26. Schultz with the play action, flushed out of the pocket again and dropped. As Wyoming is really starting to assert themselves, and that is Beasons, who is probably their most experienced and top defensive lineman. First time we've really heard from him in this game.
Well, little play action fake there, but that time the Orange Crush on the right side, the wall caved. They didn't pick him up. They didn't get a hat on everybody, and Schultz really didn't have a chance there. Field with good windows to drop the ball in, he's going to be terrific. But if you make him move around, as in any quarterback, then they're going to be less effective.
Schultz again downfield. Hodges open, and he hauls it in for the completion. Finally shoved out of bounds by Blair Burns, but Bowling Green gets the big play they need to get rolling again.
Well, what Hodges did there, Greg, they got a sideline go route on. Excellent protection by the Orange Crush. And what Haji did there is he kept running. The receivers sometimes don't finish the routes. He kept running. He didn't stop.
We've got Marquestin and Haji in this game.
Yeah, there you go. Beautiful toss, too. And you talked about the additional arm strength that Matt Schultz has picked up. He threw that ball about 45, 50 yards in the air on the money. Tremendous protection by the Orange Crush up front.
Sure, we've got some Johnny Quest devotees in the audience. First and 10 from the 25. There goes Jordan Hopgood, roaring up the middle, trying to continue to second effort yardage, probably 6 or 7 on the play. It looks like Wyoming is really concentrating a lot of defensive attention now on Jordan, and that allowed the completion to Hodges previously.
Yeah, and 2 plays prior, Schultz took a hit on the knee, and he's all right.
See the defensive coverage there.
Well, K-Gun's drawing two people. He's drawing a linebacker and a safety there, which opens up the outside for Haji.
Here's Hopgood with some running room around right in if he can turn the corner, but a great open field tackle there prevents a much bigger gain as Huff just closed down before Hopgood could have swept right into the end zone.
I was trying to finish up there, Greg. Schultz 3 plays ago took a shot on the knee, and he's been limping around a little bit out there, and I think it hurt him, so hopefully he's going to be okay, but he took a pretty good shot.
Falcons in the red zone. 1st and 10 on the 15. Hopgood sliced off one attempted tackle and made lemonade out of a lemon on that play. Got a couple of yards.
You know, and last year on that pass to Haji on the 50-yarder on the go on the sideline, might not have the arm strength to get it out there. He's been limping around. He took a shot about 4 plays ago, and he's definitely limping a little bit.
Just gave him a yard on that first down play. Cooper in motion. He's been kind of quiet here so far tonight. Hopgood managed to shuck off one tackler and get down to the 11-yard line. And the Falcons trying to avoid bogging down in the red zone here.
Well, and this is in the area that if you talk about team improvement for the Falcons on offense, last year we saw how many times they get down inside the red zone, and when the defense constricts, everything gets more crowded. They had a difficult time with the spread scoring, so this will be an opportunity again. Sometimes it's an opportunity to look for that big tight end down the middle. With the good threats you have on the outside, you look for that big tight end down the middle. Or again, a back shoulder fade. You get a good look at Schultz. He's a warrior. He stands in the pocket. He stays tough throwing the football. Maybe they could catch a back shoulder fade again to K-Gun.
Well, they got a penalty call that put the ball all the way back on the 27-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 22 coming up here, and that is a dagger to the Falcons.
You got to play smart. This game's hard enough without hurting yourself.
Schultz again forced to move out of the pocket, and again he's dropped. And they're really starting to get a lot of pressure on him in this game as we've gone on. Mark Willis with the sack that time. And it's 4th down.
Well, you know, when you make the quarterback move his feet, step up in the pocket, and take away the rhythm of the play. Here's this. Matt's looking downfield, but he has to move up in the pocket to survive, and then the play's over.
Willis' season got cut short, an injury in the Texas Christian game last year, but back at full strength, and he showed it on that play. A 44-yard field goal attempt by Kyle Burkhardt. And it's blocked. And the Falcons just can't seem to get things going as another promising drive comes up empty.
Well, Kyle's a great kicker, a BCSN youngster from Central Catholic, and we certainly followed his wonderful career in high school. Special teams again, Greg. You know, Falcons played so well in special teams in the first half, and now in the second half they've been hurt by special teams.
And their problems getting deeper and deeper here at the Deutsch. Players like Dwayne Woods are going to have to step up and make some big plays to just turn the tenor around in this game as we see the block field goal attempt and just a low line drive kick right into a crowd.
Yeah, he hit it low. Kyle hit it a little low, and you can't allow internal penetration and have anybody get their arms up.
And nobody was fooled by that fake, and Chris Jones throws for a 12-yard loss, and Alexander just hurled the ball away in frustration after that play.
Boy, Jonesy made a play that the Falcons really needed. You got to get a turnaround kind of play, a change of momentum play. Here's Jonesy. Man, close on the ball, take him down. That's how you do it.
Well, that cancels out all the yardage Alexander got in his touchdown run. But they got the 6 points that aren't canceled out anyway. Here is Smith rolling right, again under pressure, throws it against the grain. Dangerous pass. He missed Ruffin downfield. That's the kind that can often get intercepted.
And under pressure by whom?
Jones again.
Jonesy again. Jonesy's fired up.
We got Corey Jones and Chris Jones. A Jones pass rushing monster on both sides.
Chris Jones has just made 2 momentum-changing plays. One on a thrown for loss on a rush, and the other rushing the quarterback. 91 is fired up for the Falcons.
3rd and 18. The Falcons really needed a big defensive stand. So far, they've gotten it. They want to force Wyoming to punt deep in their own territory. They give it to Alexander again. Once more, they allow him to go nowhere as Dwayne Woods cleans it up.
And you know, Greg, a play that Jones made for the Falcons 2 in a row. They're trying to get an edge play here. Nothing. Falcons good contain. Bomb. Boo Boo's right there. But those plays incite the other people to play harder. They enthuse the other guys to give more.
Final minute ticking off this third quarter clock. And the Falcons are going to get quite possibly another opportunity in good field position.
We need to catch this punt.
Yeah,
I'm just throwing it out there. I
would say that's probably a good idea. What a punt by McCoy. Cooper does catch it, so that's good for the Falcons. But he is lassoed and hogtied by the Cowboys down at the 20-yard line. You talk about a great punt. That is 56 yards and no return.
Greg,
these punters are really putting on a show today.
They are, and most people who really watch football don't get it. They're upset when their team punts. Well, you know what? It could be one of the best plays that you run all day long. Those are like 50-yard pass completions.
Yeah, if you got a guy who can bomb it like that,
yeah, exactly.
No return,
punting isn't a bad thing.
Weapon.
It's not a bad thing when you have a great kicker.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, that's the important thing. When you've got a great kicker, if you don't, it can be a bad thing.
Right.
We've seen a few of those.
Yeah, we've had a couple.
1st and 10, Falcons. They marked it on the 24. Said stop forward progress before they threw him down. Here is Jordan Hopgood, and he grinds out a couple of yards on the play. Stopped by Kurt Tafasau, and ready for the fourth quarter as the Falcons trying to come back against this tough Wyoming team. One quarter to go here, barring overtime, as Wyoming leads Bowling Green 21-14, and a game that started so promisingly for the Falcons has now reached a point where they're going to have to come up with some heroics to turn it around.
You know, Greg, football is like a 4-act play with a lot of ups and downs, and you have to deal with the adversity. And the kind of football team you're going to be is really dependent on how you react when things don't go your way. You get a fumble, you drop a ball, you put your head down and feel sorry for yourself, or you go out and make something happen like Chris Jones did, made 2 plays, they got the defense fired up, and now got the ball back for the offense. That's what you do.
So now we commence Act 4, Scene 1.
There you go. I like that.
As this fourth quarter about to begin. 2nd and 6 on the 28. Falcons offense was operating like a well-oiled machine earlier in the game, but it is definitely bogged down because of these ill-timed turnovers. And they go to Hopgood out to the 30-yard line, just a couple of yards, and it'll be 3rd down.
You know, Greg, I hope that Samuel is okay. We haven't seen him in the second half hardly at all, and Hopgood's a fine runner and does an excellent job. Boy, Samuel has been the guy that has made the difference on this team running the football, and we haven't seen him at all in the second half.
Haven't really seen Cooper very frequently in this game either, although Kamar Jordan has stepped it up in terms of production. Schultz back to throw, and the ball was swept right out of his hands and recovered by Bezuns, and that's why he is such a highly regarded player.
Yep, and their media people tell us that the NFL scouts are looking at him significantly. It's a nice pass rush, bull rush on the outside, and boy, that's a big-time play. That's what they want to see from a possible NFL prospect. It was a bull rush on the outside, and then he had the awareness to get his arm up and strip Matt Schultz as he was looking to throw the football.
He entered the season with 16 consecutive starts. All Mountain West Conference last year, quite likely to be top candidate for it this year. You don't see that too often. Sack the quarterback and then just take the ball right out of his hands.
Yeah, that was a terrific play. Bull rush on the outside and had the awareness to pull Matt's arm down.
Smith flares it out, and He found Curran, and he picks up 5 yards on the play.
Yeah, one of those little now hitches. You run down 5 yards and turn around, and the ball is now in your chest, and it's hard to defend.
Another very damaging turnover committed by the Falcons. Smith twists and zigzags his way down to the 9-yard line. Another first down. Wyoming is on the verge of just really taking over this game.
Well, credit Coach Christensen and Coach Brandon. They kind of mesmerize you with this offense. It's got a hypnotizing effect to it. Little dink on the outside, little dink in the middle, little run on the outside, little run in the middle. And, boy, before you know it, they've controlled the ball and they've taken it downfield and kind of taken over the game. They've taken over the tempo of this game.
Falcons led 7-0 and 14-7, but it could have been 21-0 early in the game. Lost opportunities have killed them. That ball thrown away. Cameron Truss covering Chris McNeil closely on that square out in the end zone.
Well, you think that this Brett Smith, Greg, is a true freshman. His deportment out there isn't like a true freshman. He doesn't act like a kid who's just come off a high school football field. I think Wyoming is going to have themselves a pretty special quarterback for a long time.
2nd and 10. Falcon defense trying to toughen up the way they did on that last drive, but here they're having to do it with their backs up against the end zone. Smith with time, picked out his receiver, a race to the corner, and getting to the flag for the touchdown. Dominic Ruffin scores, and Wyoming now has a 2-touchdown bulge.
Well, this is an old Purdue passing play. It's called a circle in. And wide open, you hit him on the numbers, and the back circles out and then comes back in. Purdue used to run it in the 60s all the time. It's called circle in.
Sullivan try to make it a 14-point game. He does with no problem. And Bowling Green is really behind the 8 ball now, trailing 28-14. Well, Dave Christensen always took satisfaction when he could come into Bowling Green and win. I'm sure Greg Brandon has taken satisfaction with what's going on right now, although there's still a long time to go. But they have definitely just been dominating Bowling Green here probably ever since the midway mark of the second quarter.
Well, the famous author Thomas Wolfe said you can't go home again, but I think he may be wrong. Greg Brandon and Coach Christensen are doing pretty well.
It looked so bright for the Falcons early in the game. They seem to be continuing their great performance of the first 2 weeks of the season. And then they just commenced shooting themselves in the foot with one turnover after another at very ill-advised time. So here they're going to try to break one on the return. It's Boo Boo Gates out to the 43, and let's go back to the sideline to Mike Lissette.
Well, this just has not been Matt Shields' day. There was the botched handoff in the first quarter, the interception that followed that, and then most recently the fumble. As soon as he came out of the game, Dave Clawson kind of glared at him and then snapped at him and said, "You got to hold the ball." Shields just kind of looked up and said, I know, my fault.
Yeah, let's see if he can correct his ways. That was the real backbreaker, was the fumble at the 1, because they had a hole just blown open in the line. All he had to do was walk through it for the touchdown, but they botched the handoff and resulted in the first of that long string of unfortunate turnovers. There's a pass completed to Bears. They keep going back to that pass up the middle of the tight end. It's been working for them all game when they've gone to it.
Greg, I think it's there, and I think they can get more out of it. Good call, good completion. Bears going to be a tremendous target for the Falcons this year.
Snapped that one very quickly before anybody seemed to be really set.
Well, the Falcons weren't set, and that's what is going to come back. And in regard to that last, I think when they go back and look at the fumble that you were talking about with, and Mike was, Schultz and Samuel down the goal line, I think it's going to be a multiple fault there. Because I don't think Anton didn't have his arms right, inside arm up, and I think Matt kind of put it on his hip. So that might be a shared responsibility. And the fumble and the when Matt got stripped passing the football, no quarterbacks hanging onto the ball in that situation. when the big man's coming over and he strips your arm down when you're trying to throw it, there's no way you're going to hang on to it.
At least they had the other ball that looked like it might have been a touchdown that they couldn't hold on to. There's another incompletion. I should say interception that they end up calling an incompletion, as Blair Burns almost made his second big theft of the game. In fact, they have called it an interception.
Well,
so that is 2. He had the interception in the long run back, and now another one. The Falcons now with 6 turnovers that have just crushed their prospects in this game.
Well, it's just a drive slant that the Cowboy jumped, and they jumped the route. I mean, it's as simple as that. And there are only so many routes in football, Greg, and you got to mix it up, and they just jumped the slant.
Blair Burns has emerged as a real hero in this game. A freshman from Plano, Texas. They play great football. Man, look at this. Drive, but he kept driving so long and coughed up the ball, and the Falcons get it back. They return, but the ball was already whistled dead before Devin McCoy wheeled out of there. So they won't get the big return, but at least they'll get the football back.
All right, and if you hang in there, Greg, and you keep fighting, sometimes the breaks even out. This is a big runoff tackle inside, good effort, good leg drive, getting assist by the Cowboy lineman. Ball comes out, stripped out. That's a good defensive play. Everybody's stripping the ball today. Again, another look up inside between the tackles, good leg drive. The Cowboy linemen are assisting the run. Ball stripped out. Now, that's a great shot. His knees, I'll tell you what, his knees could have been down. His knees could have been down when they stripped that out.
They are going to review it.
That last camera shot that we got, his knees could have been down. And you get another look at it. They're running inside off tackle. They double team the tackle, kick out the end. Now watch, the Wyoming linemen are assisting on the run. That used to be illegal.
It's hard to say when the ball popped out.
You need to see it real time is the issue. But here it comes. He still got it. Stripped out now.
I mean, the knee's down now, but the ball's loose as well.
Yeah,
so it happened almost simultaneously.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those yay or nay, but if you can see it real time, you get a better sense of it.
Again, it's got to be definitive to overturn the initial call, so that would stand to think that maybe they may cause the fumble to stand, but that's one of those plays where even if it goes to fumble, you can't blame the runner. As Khalid Muhammad, he was running hard, second and third efforts, doing everything he can in that particular situation. It would have been better off for them if he'd have just gone down, but you have to still love the way he was fighting for those additional yards.
That's a great point, Greg. And everybody strips the ball today. Get another look at it here, up inside the tackle hole.
He'd have gone down there, wouldn't have been a problem, but he kept fighting. He got another 5-10 yards on the play.
Cowboy linemen are assisting him now. All right, right there.
I think
both knees are down as the ball out right there. Sure, it kind of looks like it. Go one more time. We go forward.
I was about to render a pronouncement, and then I thought, well, I don't know. I can't say.
It's really tough. We got great camera angles on it, but it was almost simultaneous, Both knees down, and the ball popped up at the same time.
Dave Clausen's down there talking to the officials, as he does so well. Again, let's try one more time.
Get another look.
I'm going to say the ball was stripped a split second before the knee went down.
All right, he's down there, the ball's out. But from that angle to me, it looks like he was down and then the ball was stripped. But like you said,
it has to be the other way around. But it was a millisecond difference either way.
But what you said, it had to be conclusive evidence that to go against the call. And I don't know if that's that, but it did look like he was.
I would say that if the initial ruling was he was down, it'd be hard to say you could overturn that. And if the initial ruling was a fumble, it's hard to see how you could overturn that based on what we just saw.
From the last view we had there, to me it looked like he was down, and then the ball came out. For the Falcons, I'm hoping that's not the case. But
I think these discussions that have come about periodically in this game have added about an extra half hour to the game time.
Yeah.
As this has not been
right down in front of us, we've got
Todd
Hostetler and Tom Duncan here at the ball game. Kind of nice up in front of our box, handing out candy.
Tom's the one in the black hat.
Tom would have the black hat on, yes.
Well, if I had to make a call based on that replay, I would say the fumble should stand.
Okay, I'm saying he was down.
But it's so close that you could see
we've got a lunch on it. I'm saying he was down.
That's not fair because you'll eat more than me. So.
Oh, I don't know about that.
You got to say 2 lunches.
I'm only 312. Come on. I lost 7 pounds.
You only have 120 pounds on me.
That's right, but I'm willing to try and pick that 120 up by the end of the football season.
Here we go again. It's a 3-judge panel down there.
Yeah, they
deliberating.
But, I think you got to make the decisions faster than this, and I'm not criticizing the guys. Stripers do a great job, but just make the call, just get it going.
You want to get it right, but you want to have it done before dinner time.
Yeah, the delays have been pretty significant.
It's like everything. Yes, you want to get it right, but you don't want to wait 3 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a point when you need to make the decision.
Yeah, it's been a lot of delays.
And if it's this long and you can't come up with anything to overturn it, then that should be a pretty good indication that there's no definitive evidence.
Well, we'll see here.
Falcon offense. No, the defense is trotting back out.
Thank you very much.
Tom heard you talking about him.
Yeah, thank you.
Up.
Thank you so much. Being visited up in the box by the BGSU Spirit Squad. Doing a great job with the fans.
So they have overturned the fumble.
Yeah.
So you were correct.
It looked like he was down. The last angle we got looked like he was down. Our guys.
I no longer believe that line about definitive proof because I have seen too many of these kind of decisions made in the absence of said proof.
Our gang gave us some great angles on that, though. That was nice.
And Muhammad gets a couple of yards. I think they've kind of gravitated to, if they kind of think it's that way, even if it might be too close to call, they're going to go with their gut instinct.
I just think that they need to make the decision faster. I mean, they look at it just like we did on the monitor 2 or 3 times and just say, okay, this is what it is. I mean, the delays kind of take away from the flow of the game.
No one could really call that definitive.
No.
2nd and 8, ball on the 39. But a big break for Wyoming, especially if they can culminate this drive in more points, but that's incomplete. And the Falcons have forced them into a 3rd and long. Smith is, in many ways, he's an unpretentious quarterback. He's not spectacular, but he has orchestrated outstanding attack here.
But true freshman, Greg. Think about that.
Yeah.
A true freshman.
Think of what he'll be in 3 or 4 years.
Right.
And he swings that one out. Complete. Breaking tackle. But Chris McNeil got buried.
Big hit.
Boy, that was Dwayne Woods just blowing up that play right when it looked like McNeil was starting to gather some speed.
Woody brought some lumber on that one. I want to tell you what. That was a great hit.
Falcon defense many times.
Well, we need to stop here.
Come up big.
Got to get a stop here.
They're going to go for it at 4th and 5 as they're not in field goal range in Falcon territory. They feel like they might as well go for it. They're in too close to really try to cough a corner punt. And a whistle just before the snap. And sometimes they might take a delay of game penalty just to give them a better opportunity to plant a punt there, but they actually did snap the ball, so it appeared that was their intent to run a play.
Well, we need to stop. They called a timeout.
And as they talk it over, we'll take a break and be right back.
2, 3.
28-14, Brett Smith brings his troops back out. Wyoming has really been a factory of great quarterbacks. They had Austin Samuels, who had a tremendous freshman year in the Mountain West, but he left after 1 year. Then they brought in Smith, and Adam Pitzer was ranked as the 19th best dual threat quarterback in the nation, and he's in the program right now, being redshirted probably. Here is Smith. He lobs one up, double coverage, and the Falcon defenders just back off. They didn't want to be called for interference, and Falcons will take over on the 36-yard line with 11:14 to go.
Greg, great defensive call by Coach Elko. He dialed up pressure. He put pressure. He brought pressure everywhere, made Brett Smith move up into the pocket and took the route away. Great call.
Well, turnovers have really been the story of this game. There's the one where it seemed like all he had to do was walk into the end zone. That would have really given the Falcons control of the game, that fumble. Then there was the one where Schultz was off balance when he threw it, intercepted inside the 10. Just swiped away by Bazoons on a great rush. Burns with 2 interceptions. That was the second one. And finally, they get Eugene Cooper into the game with a completion maybe just short of the chain. We'll see where they mark the ball. So it'll be second and short.
Nice throw by Schultz.
Lined up quickly. Wyoming didn't appear to be really set, and they sneak it for the first down.
Yeah, they quick snapped him a couple times, and that's something you see in the film. That's a film play. They're not getting set, and they're just quick snapping him. It's almost like a sugar huddle that the Bengals used to run back with Sam White.
And they legislated against it.
Yeah.
It was too effective.
Yes, too effective. That's right.
First and 10 at the 48. Quickest way to get something legislated against is have success with it. And there's a big hit laid on Baer by Anderson.
Greg, I don't know, but I just think that the hit that Matt Schultz took 8 or 9 plays ago, he looks gimpy setting up, and he isn't pushing the ball as well. I'm just wondering if he isn't dinged up a little bit.
Look at the total yardage difference. Falcons have been anemic in the second half. But here, Hopgood's got some running room. Let's see what he can do with it. Tries to turn the corner, but Burns runs him down with some help. And let's go back down to the sidelines with Mike Lissette.
Well, guys, still plenty of time left in the ball game, about 11 minutes. But if Bowling Green should lose this game, they will look at turnovers as the reason. They've got 5 turnovers in this game. That almost doubles the turnover amount to the season's first 2 games. Let's go back upstairs.
I'll tell you, Wyoming, if you're going to play Nebraska next week, you want to have success coming into it, and they are nearing achieving that objective. But there's a completion to Kamar Jordan, and the Falcons move the chains again. And as Mike said, there is still plenty of time. If the Falcons can get to the end zone here, absolutely, this game is right back on the table again.
Well, another one of those drive slants, and eventually they're gonna fake the drive slant, Greg, and run a corner route off of it.
Schultz fires it downfield again, and that ball is caught by Sean Joplin. And that is close to another first down. They move the chains once more, so these short to medium range passes have been paying off. Sean Joplin, the state champion at Sylvania Southview and record holder in a high jump, made that big catch. Here is Schultz running and hitting the deck before he got racked up by Corey Jones, but about 5 yards on the scramble.
Well, Sean Joplin's one of our BCSN stars and going on now to going to do real well at Bowling Green. But Coach Carney, the wide receivers coach for the Falcons, these guys are well schooled in running routes and hand techniques as far as catching the football. It's really impressive.
2nd and 6. Schultz sets up the screen again to Samuels, and he utilizes his blockers and gets another first down to the 13. This has been a very efficient drive. The Falcons are almost getting back to what we saw in the early stages of the game.
Well, this is a little slip screen that, if you noticed last night, the Toledo Rockets ran against Boise. You bring the defense to you, you let them come to you, and then you slip it out to the side, and it's very effective. It cuts down the pass rush.
Very similar. It was 2 really key turnovers deep in Boise State territory that robbed the Rockets of a chance of an upset in that game. Similar story for the Falcons, but here's a ball again dropped by Joplin. Wouldn't have gotten into the end zone, but it would have got them down to the 5-yard line.
Well, that time Sean couldn't get his hand. He had his top hand over the ball, and that forces it away from you. So he didn't get his hands adjusted that right that time. But he's a real talent, and he's going to be a tremendous player here at Bowling Green.
So Falcons have moved over half the length of the field in 9 plays, trying to get the rest of the way. Schultz guns it, and too high for Kamar Jordan, and they're fortunate that ball wasn't intercepted.
Yeah, very fortunate, Greg. Schultz in the second half, Matt's been getting his jersey adjusted by one of the Big Orange Crush men up front. He's been hit too many times in the second half. In the first half, he was basically upright, unencumbered, windows to throw the ball. The second half, he's been laying on the turf, and that's just the difference in throwing these rhythm patterns.
3rd and 10 on the 13. Field goal will do the Falcons very little good. That ball is caught by Joplin inside the 10, but it won't be enough for the first down.
Well, I can tell you honestly, Greg, when I watch Matt throwing the football, he's not planting that knee real solid. He's underthrowing balls. There's not as much power on it, and I can tell you that when your knee is hurting, there's something wrong there. You're not driving the ball. He's not driving the ball like he was in the first half.
Here we go, 4th and 5 from the 8. This isn't the ball game if they don't convert, but it is big. Schultz throws it back of the end zone and just too high in the air for Eugene Cooper. He was open, and he just simply could not deliver it.
Well, Coach Clausen's talking to Matt right now, and he made the right read. The pressure comes, he steps up, brings the defense toward him, finds the open man. He did everything right, except he didn't follow through with the pass, and it sailed on him. So that's a learning experience.
That is the 3rd potential touchdown that the Falcons have coughed up in this game, enough to make the difference in the score. And they have, pure and simple, made too many mistakes right now to be winning this football game. Meanwhile, Wyoming has taken advantage of their errors. There is Alexander, and he bursts his way out for a first down. And once again, they're out of the shadow of their own goalpost.
Your opening salvo about the exploits of Alexander and how good he is. You know what? I think you're spot on. This kid runs pretty hard.
He's one of the top runners in program history for a good reason. Didn't go very far that time, though. The Falcon defense is really, as they did even in last year's abysmal season at 2-10, they have really helped keep the Falcons in this game by coming up big when they've needed to, but they've just been called upon too many times.
Well, people say, if we just didn't turn the ball over. Well, that's part of football. That's right. That's part of the ball game, and you have to be careful with the football. And if you turn it over 5-6 times, it's going to be rare that you win.
Wyoming has made a couple of ill-timed turnovers, but certainly not nearly as frequently as the Falcons.
Well, you definitely need a stop here. You got to get a 3-and-out here, Greg, and get the ball back. And I think you're going to have to take bigger chunks of real estate instead of dinking and dunking it down. I think you're going to have to, when the Falcons do get it back, they're going to take some shots downfield.
Some fans are starting to head for the exits here, which I think might be a tad
way
premature.
Too soon. Yeah, way too soon. Don't start the bus up. We're good here.
Oh, good. So we're in agreement.
Oh,
we're not going to
total
start talking
agreement.
about warming up the bus.
I'm talking about a Falcon comeback here.
3rd and 8 on the 22. That pass out for Ogbonna. Caught. And he is just collared before he can get the first down by Devin McCoy. But it will be 4th and short. They're not going to gamble, I wouldn't think, in this situation.
No. Now, do you entertain going after a punt here, Greg, or are you going to get a return?
Well, the way the punters have been in this game, I think I'd go after it.
There you go. Just don't rough them. It would be great to get a good special teams play here. Either get a nice return or go after the kicker.
Been a lot of long punts and not many, if any, good returns in this game that I can recall. Stationed back on the 14, and here's another one. High arcing punt. Cooper will try to get a return, but it was enough hang time to allow DeAndre Jones to come right down the field and cut down Cooper before he could move upfield. Falcons, the long field, down 2 touchdowns late in the 4th. Well, it is really put up or shut up time for the Falcons now. Down 2 scores with less than 6 minutes to play. They have to get on the comeback trail if they're going to get on it.
Yeah, go big or go home. They got to get bigger chunks of real estate here, Greg. You're not going to have the time to matriculate it down the field. You've got to get some big chunks.
And you're going for a big chunk there. Adrian Hodges got it. Had he been able to turn upfield, he might have gotten a lot more, but Blair Burns really closed on him well. Look at this. The Falcons have had 2 good drives, and both times it did not avail them any points. And then, of course, fumble, interception, and a blocked field goal. Even that's not a turnover, but it hurts you just as badly.
Yep.
That pass is caught by Jordan, straining for the first down yardage.
Yep, we need to be in the hurry up the whole time here, Greg. That's with 5:21 on the board. This is doable, but you got to get up there and get going.
Sean Gibson wrapped him up. Meanwhile, for Wyoming, they just want to really cut down on yardage after the catch. Not allow the Falcons to create any big plays. Here they go down deep, but that will be nowhere near Hodges.
Yeah, they try to double move, Greg. They did a hitch and go, and Matt made an arm pump. He just isn't throwing the ball with the same force and alacrity that he did in the first half. To steal one of your vocab words, he isn't setting up on that leg as well. He's a little dinged up, I think.
2nd and 10. He's going to have to start showing more alacrity here. And that was a crisp pass to Joplin, and he does a good job breaking a couple of tackles and getting the first down. But again, Wyoming did a good job of, even though he was in space, they didn't allow him to escape for a big gain.
But still plenty of time, Greg. You got 5 minutes, got out of bounds,
and got the
moves the chain, stopped the clock, and now it's rolled. They're winding it, snap the ball, and let's go.
Schultz in the pocket again on that quick out, intended for Hodges, but this time incomplete.
That's all right. An incomplete pass, that stops the clock. That's fine. We're just going to have to get bigger chunks here.
Or at least stop the clock every time you pick up 8 or 9 yards. Still a creditable performance by Schultz, over 300 yards.
Matt's an extremely talented quarterback. He really is.
This isn't even one of his better days, although he had a very good early part of the game. Joplin, again, can't quite duck under the tackle.
Right. We got to get up and get going here, guys. The clock's running. Let's go.
Brought up short of the first down by Devin Harris.
Get up and get going here, fellas.
3rd and 5. Falcons have spent a lot of the later part of the game in Wyoming territory. There's a good catch by Kamar Jordan.
K-gun.
Move the chains as Gibson again corralled him immediately, but not before the first down is attained.
Stop clock. Clock is stopped there, so that's what we want. They'll wind it. Let's go. Let's snap the ball, fellas.
Schultz again.
He's
got a wide open receiver and sauntering into the end zone for the touchdown. Jordan, and the Falcons are right back in the thick of it.
Well, I think, Greg, that K-Gun, Kamar Jordan, made a double move. Matt Schultz saw him. The Orange Crush gave him plenty of time, and it was an easy pitch and catch. See, double move? Whoa, what a nice double move. That was a hitch and go, and he used a spin move on it. What a beautiful move. Wyoming, the Cowboys bid on the hitch, and beautiful toss.
That's why he was so wide open.
Yeah, double move, hitch and go.
And the Falcons try to get back within 7. Burkhart's kick is good. 4:16 to go, 28-21. Don't go away, tightening up here. Things were getting very bleak. The Falcons come back with, we said it was really time, do or die. And they got the first touchdown they needed on that 32-yard scoring pass to Kamar Jordan. Now the question is, can they get the ball back and do it again?
Well, I think sometimes they got to look at doing more double moves, Greg, because they do so many of the in-front passes. It was a beautiful double move by Kamar Jordan. It was a hitch and go. He faked the hitch, went down 5, turned around for the hitch. Matt pumped him the ball, quick shoulder turn and went up. Beautiful hitch and go, and he got bigger chunks, larger chunks of yardage.
28-21. 4:16 to go, still plenty of time. You don't have to think about an onside kick or anything at this juncture. And Burkhart booms it deep for Muhammad at the 2. Works his way up just beyond the 30-yard line. Take a look again at the scoring play. And he was so wide open.
Here's the hitch. See him hitch and then go and spin out, and the Cowboy bid on it. It was actually interference, too, because he grabbed him because he was beat.
Even with the interference, he couldn't change anything.
Great camera shot. Perfect hitch and go.
1st and 10 from the 30. See if the Falcon defense can rise to the occasion once more. And they might just get one last crack with the football. And a chance to possibly send this game into overtime. First, they got to do the job defensively, and they go to Miller around right end. Brandon Miller, he's stopped after just a 1-yard pickup.
Well, the Falcons need a 3 and out here, Greg.
Cameron Truss is down, it looks like.
Get Chris Jones fired up here to make a play.
And a timeout as they will look at him. Well, of course, you can join Ken Watlington for the light side on BCSN every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Anytime that there is something interesting or unusual going on in the local sports scene, Ken Watlington will be there. Watch the light side every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. only on BCSN.
Well, Ken does a great job with his show. It's a community bent type show. He does all those community awareness type stories and does a terrific job with it.
See how disgusted Cameron Truss is that he's got to leave the field. He can still walk. He's not badly injured. That's good, but too gimpy to be on the field in such a crucial time of the game.
Well, get Chris Jones to make a play here. He's made 2 or 3 of them here, Greg. And get him to blow something up on the Cowboys here.
You want to say, boom goes the dynamite.
There you go.
2nd and 8. Long count here.
They're running the clock down. Smart. Take it right down to the final second to snap it. Use as much time as possible. Well schooled by the Cowboys.
Another example of the input of Greg Brandon. Long count here. Down to 3:15 and running. Smith takes the snap, a fake, and then plunges forward for a couple of yards. Very conservative call there. But again, they're taking off a huge chunk of time.
Yep, well, this is the play right here, Greg. 3rd and 8, or 3rd and 5, I should say. They're going to run clock down again before they snap it. You've got to decide, are you going to bring pressure? Do you think they're going to throw, or are you going to put people in the box and stop the run?
Falcon fans are on their feet exhorting the defense now. This is maybe the big play of the game right here.
Got to
this point.
Bring some people here. You got to bring some people here, Greg.
Back to throw, looks left, looks right. Now he's going to run for his life. Diving for the 1st down yardage, but didn't get there.
I don't think he did, Greg. He slid to the marker, but where he was put down is going to be short of the marker.
Wyoming players are signaling 1st down, but no, they're not going to get that.
It was a good call by the striper. He slid to the 1st down marker.
His knee was obviously down,
but he's going to be short.
The slide. He had to get to the other side of the 40, so
it's going to be short.
That certainly does not appear to be the case. Although, you never know. There seems to be a
it's been a lot of
brewing.
conferences today. Yeah, hey, the guys have had a tough game to call. There's been a lot of contentious kind of plays,
and I'm 0 for 2 on these calls too. So
there've been a lot of plays that you looked at from 12 different angles, and what are those ink blots or that you look at and you get a different view of their clouds and their animals, and it's been like those ink blots.
Test,
thank you. I couldn't spell that, but I knew it was something like that.
Yeah, they definitely placed the ball just shy of the 40, and the 1st down chain is on the far end of that 40-yard stripe. So it's 4th and less than a yard.
Well, the interesting scenario this brings up is the swagger that you have with your offense and the braggadocio that the Cowboys have. And they're pretty gosh darn good offensively. Do you think that you can get half a yard and pick it up and ice this game away? Or, do you punt it and give the Falcons a chance to put it into overtime?
So many times in these kind of situations, the team, even if they haven't been doing all that well for a long time, all of a sudden in the last part of the game, they just move down the field. And who knows, maybe it'd be worth the gamble. Let's take a look at the fan cam here. Has got an awful lot of fans to cam. Huge turnout on the student section.
Great crowd today.
Fan cam brought to you by Banner Mattress and Furniture. have to be upwards of 20,000.
Yeah, it's great
in attendance
crowd.
here today.
Tremendous crowd. Sea orange. Well, this is a tough call, Greg, because if you get the first down, you're basically going to salt the game away. You need to get half of a yard.
You got to feel like you have a good chance of getting that, and if you don't,
but if you don't get it,
they're on the 40-yard line and they need a touchdown. So you trust your defense.
If you don't get it, you're giving Bowling Green a great opportunity to take you into the basic traditional thinking would be kick it and make them go 70. And if they go 70 and beat you or tie it up, put it in overtime, that's one thing. But don't give them the short field.
It's definitely the kind of play that if you went for this and it doesn't work out, you're going to be, I think, tarred and feathered the next day or burned in effigy or something.
You're going to be widely criticized, yes. But with the kind of offense that the Cowboys have, I think they have a swagger to them. I think they think that they can get, half a yard if they need it. With Alexander, your guy, the way he's run the football, you kind of think that he could get half of a yard.
They could give it to the bruising ex-linebacker.
Yeah, there you go.
And Mohammed let him try to get a half a yard. I think it's worth the gamble the more we talk about it.
And if they're going to go, the Falcons are going to have to sell out. They're going to have to fill the gaps, load the box up, and have everybody fill in the gap and just totally sell out. They're going to have to cover the center so that Smith can't get a quarterback sneak. So you're going to have to jam the center up and then fill every gap.
If they don't make, or if they do make it, the Falcons still have 3 timeouts.
They're going to go.
They're moving the ball back to the 39.
And now you got to cover the center.
Not as close as we thought, but here we go.
You got to cover the center so they can't get it on the sneak and jam the gaps.
The other thought is they could try to induce them to jump. And they do.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Oh, my goodness. That's like the frosting on the cake for all the Falcon mistakes in this game.
Yep.
Unless they're going to call it on the offense. And the Wyoming players, again, are signaling that Wyoming bench, the whole bench was jumping up and down.
Well, the Bowling Green defender definitely jumped. As a matter, was he drawn off by movement on Wyoming? And they're signaling this against Bowling Green.
There were Falcons that were in despair on the other side, and that is just, I'm afraid, the straw that broke the camel's back.
All right, here you go. See if there's any movement by the Cowboys. Detect any movement?
No.
There's this
no
movement.
question.
Stripers got it right. It was the right call. The one element of taking away from this game, Greg, is that all these mistakes that the Falcons have made, they're young and they're going to make mistakes.
Yeah,
but they're
2/3 of their lineup
are freshmen and sophomores. And these are correctable mistakes. These are errors that can be corrected.
As you pointed out earlier, this is a pretty veteran Cowboy team.
36 Letterman back for the Cowboys. Hey, they're a pretty solid football team. But they're going to have to be real solid for Nebraska.
Definitely going to be keeping an eye on that Wyoming.
Yeah, we'll check that in Nebraska. But the Cowboys are a good football team, and the Falcons are going to be, I think, an excellent football team when they get into MAC. They're going to be good to go.
2nd and 5. They could call timeout. Bowling Green with 2 remaining.
I'm just hoping that Samuel wasn't hurt in some fashion because we really didn't see him in the second half, Greg, and he's such a big part of their offense.
Well, Wyoming, they are really in the catbird seat right now.
Yep.
Because even if they don't make the first down, and they picked up a pretty good chunk of yardage on first down, they can use up Bowling Green's timeouts. And really, then they get them deep. They're going to have to traverse most of the length of the field in less than a minute with no timeouts.
Yeah, Wyoming's got a real nice football team, well coached, good kids, and the Falcons are going to be tough when they get into MAC. They're going to be a very, very tough out in the MAC.
And again, the MAC cradle of coaches, they've got a really good mentor. In fact, 2, and Dave Christensen and Greg Brandon.
Yep.
And timeout here.
It's so hard to win in football. People don't realize sometimes what goes into winning a game. And if you turn it over 4 or 5 times, it just makes it difficult.
Well, our PNC Bank player of the game is Brett Smith of Wyoming. We talked about his great performance in the open of the show, and he certainly lived up to the billing. 24 for 37, 265, but 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He didn't play a spectacular game, but he played a very, very efficient game with very few mistakes.
Yeah, well said, Greg. He managed the offense. He made the throws that he had to make. He didn't turn the ball over, and he pushed it deep a couple times when he needed to do that. On one wheel route on the on our sideline, he still pushed it deep. So he's a true freshman. I mean, there's real maturity there for this. I mean, we've seen 2 great young quarterbacks for the future, and that's Brett Smith and Matt Schultz. Schultz had some turnovers, but he had a pretty good game for the Falcons.
We talked about how he benefited by graduating early, and he got to participate in the spring drills. That gave him an edge over Pitzer, who's another outstanding quarterback prospect. And I think that's why he's in a position to be doing as well as a true freshman as he's doing.
He's got a lot of poise, I'll tell you what.
And of course, his talent and poise has a big part to play in that as well. There's a great stop in the backfield by Dwayne Woods as he grounds Muhammad for a loss. And Dwayne Woods.
We still have another shot here, Greg.
Woods is second-team All-MAC. He's got a very good chance at graduating to first team.
You're still going to have another
All-MAC
shot
next year.
I'm sorry, Greg. You still have another shot to possibly get the ball back here. And what you need to be doing offensively is talking to get the offensive guys together and say, hey, when we get this ball back, here's what we're going to do. So everybody's on the same page.
They've got 1 timeout left. They're trying to get on the same page now. Here it goes again. The defense with a chance to redeem themselves after very unfortunately being over anxious on that 4th and 1.
Well, you know, in college football, when you get the first down, the clock stops and you move the chains. So as long as you're throwing for yardage to move the chains, you're going to be okay. So this is a huge play.
You almost wonder whether they were going to even snap the ball on that 4th and 1. Maybe that was their intent all along.
I don't know.
To try to draw them off. If so, it worked.
They certainly, the Cowboys have a little swagger to them on offense, for sure. Well deserved.
3rd and 6. This is really it for the Falcons. They got to stop them now or else.
Great
Smith fakes, but the Falcons are not fooled. 3 defenders converge on Smith, stop him on the Bowling Green 49, and Bowling Green will get the ball one more time.
Boy, tremendous play by the Falcon D, because Smith made that was a really good play call by Coach
I thought he
Brandon.
gave the ball to the running back.
And he made a great fake, the art of faking the football, and it was a great fake, but the Falcons stayed home and made the play, and now they're giving their offense an opportunity to get the ball back, to move the ball down the field, and get into maybe an overtime situation.
Ball is resting right on midfield. Dwayne Woods has started to talk about him again. It's kind of funny how you can lead the MAC in tackles, be 6th in the country, and only be 2nd team all league. But I think that he's got a very good chance of being first team, but he's also a great team leader, as he's shown here in this big situation. Bowling Green got some big games coming up. 3 games in a row on the road. Miami will be a real huge one. Try to battle the Miami whammy. And then West Virginia will be a tough opponent, obviously. Western Michigan and Toledo back to midseason for that game. Temple, and then on through the MAC season. But if they can keep up what they've started here, win, lose, or draw today, they've got a chance to be far more successful than anybody thought, certainly. Another great punt lands on the 10-yard line, and they're going to have to go 90 yards in a minute 18 with no timeouts, which was the scenario that we were kind of suspecting not too long ago.
Well, if you added up this punting yardage for the Cowboys and 0 return, that's hidden yardage that they benefited from all day long. But this is what you're asking for. Your defense did exactly what you're asking for on offense. You got a shot. You got 118 to move the ball down the field. 118 in college football is a lifetime. Every time it's a first down, you move the chain, stop the clock. So get everybody on the same page and move it down and try and get yourself in an overtime position.
1st and 10 on the 11. See if they can get something going. Oh, they got Cooper wide open, trying to get out of bounds, but does not succeed. But he did get the first down yardage, so they'll have to stop the clock to move the chains.
Yeah, you're fine. Clock stops. You've got to move the chains, get up on the line of scrimmage, you're good to go.
But I thought he had a chance to make more yardage after the catch originally. Here they go again for Cooper, and he dropped it. he would have been able to get out of bounds or again get a first down. And they've had a few drop passes that have really hurt them in this game.
Well, the thing about that isn't terrible is the clock stops, so you're not running clock. Coop tried to sneak a peek of where the defender was, took his eye off the ball, and you know what happens when you do that.
Of course, they had the one overthrown pass with the receiver wide open in the end zone. Again, they send it out to Cooper, and again, he tight ropes his way up the sideline.
Smart
out
play.
Of bounds.
Smart play, Greg. Get out of bounds. Stop the clock. Everybody's confident about what you're doing. Everybody's on the same page. You got plenty of time, 59 seconds.
You can do an awful lot in a minute if you're smart and utilize the clock well. Schultz throws it further down the field this time. Circus catch by Hudson, and they're going to call it a completion.
Yep, great call. Great catch.
A fantastic
catch. And give Matt Schultz credit. He put the ball pretty much where it had to be.
They look like Don Hudson on that catch.
It's a runoff pattern, one deep, one break into the sideline, and put it right where it had to be.
No question, he was in bounds. Cody Sutton jarred him, and up the middle they go for another completion.
Boy, that one
they're finding Cooper now in this drive.
Yeah, and that one had some action on it. Schultz put some salsa on that. Good protection by the Orange Crush.
2nd and 1. Wings it out again.
Beautiful.
Another completion to Cooper. All of a sudden they're on the Wyoming 42. 33 and a half seconds to go. And now they're within range of taking some shots in the end zone.
Well, Wyoming is in the prevent, and they're going to have to get out of the prevent and start rolling up on the receivers and bring pressure on Matt Schultz because he's picking them apart right now.
The question is, what are they preventing? Schultz down the middle again, caught. And it is another first down to Justice Jones at the 26.
Clock stop. You got to move the chains. We're good. 26 seconds.
Now they're really within range of the end zone. Schultz rolling, got lots of room. Arches it downfield, wide open to Cooper. He's down on the 10. They'll stop the clock. The Falcons have gone 80 yards in 45 seconds.
And now you're in a position, Greg, where you're going to get 4 shots. You got to go into the end zone. You must throw into the end zone each time.
Here comes shot number 1, open in the end zone, and a big defensive play there by Darren White as he just socked the receiver as the ball was arriving. Cooper very nearly hauled it in for what could have been the tying score.
You might want to look backside fade, back shoulders fade, but you got to go into the end zone or throw the ball away. Nothing underneath. Must go into the end zone.
7.5 seconds. Schultz into the end zone again. Caught! And the Falcons have scored with 2 seconds left to tie this ball game if they can convert. Adrian Hodges. And it's 28-27 with 2.1 seconds remaining.
Little skinny post to Haji, splits him. Great throw by Schultz. Here you go. Good protection by the Orange Crush. Skinny post. There's Haji in the back line. Touchdown.
That's Hudson again. That is Hudson again. That's 2 brilliant catches by Ray Hudson in this drive.
Now they're going to look at it, I think. I think they're going to look at it again, Greg.
That's another thing that's happened in football. It's almost every time you get a big play, you have to go through a review, but obviously this time you got to get it right.
It sure looked like from the rhythm of it that he got the foot down. Take a look here.
Oh, I don't think there's any question that that's a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's 2 brilliant catches.
Look at the protection, step up, Schultz. Great play. Yep.
There is no doubt Ray Hudson played in all 12 games, had just 2 catches all last year. He's had 2 fantastic catches on this drive, and he's just made the biggest catch of his career by far.
Well,
there's nothing left but to signal touchdown here.
Credit the big guys up front, the Orange Crush. The protection they gave Matt Schultz. They've signaled touchdown. The protection was key. The receivers were excellent. And, Schultz has had an interesting day. It's like a Clint Eastwood movie. It's been good, bad, and ugly, and it ends up good at the end. I mean, he really has made some terrific throws today.
Well, it'd be gutsy to go for the 2 and try to win the game right here, wouldn't it?
Well, you're at home. Normally at home, you're looking to go into the overtime at home.
It'll be a very interesting overtime. Burkhardt's got to convert, and they block it. They blocked the field goal earlier, and they blocked the extra point here.
Oh, boy.
And Wyoming is going to escape with the victory.
Boy, what a game. It feels so bad for the kids.
That's almost
tough.
like the movie North Dallas 40.
Yeah, that's tough. You know, it looks like Kyle's kicks he's a great kicker. To watch the trajectory of it, it looks so low. It looks like it's coming up. They get pressure in the inside. It's pretty low, and I think they got it off the edge. And really, you're not supposed to be able to get it from the edge. So maybe it was a little bit of a slow snap. He's coming from the edge. Does he get it there? Or is it in the middle? The middle got it the last time, but it seems like the kicks are a little bit low. Kyle's a great kicker. They'll work on that. He really is a great kicker. And they'll just have to work the special teams again, Greg. We talked about special teams all day long. How many times the special teams come back and kill you in football, whether it's returns or punts or field goals or extra points. But what a courageous effort by the Falcons on offense and defense. And it shows you the character and timber of this team to fight back and get back into this thing and have that kind of drive. And I'm telling you right now, Greg, Schultz is a terrific, terrific quarterback.
Kind of reminds me of the game a couple of years ago. They lost to Ohio, and Freddie Barnes was juggling the ball about 5 times.
Right.
Just couldn't
Very
get
similar.
it.
Yep.
And here again, it looked like they had fought back. And I don't know if it was a premonition when I said maybe they could go for 2.
Yeah, you did say that, yeah. You know what? Well, usually the book is at home. You look to go and extend it and go in the overtime. On the road, you know, that's a different story. You can take your shot and go for 2 if you feel like you're overmatched. These are 2 very good football teams. Put on a great show today, but feel bad for the kids.
Well, here it is: onside
Green.
kick and a rugby play.
There you go.
Bowling Green's got a great rugby team, so if they learn any lessons from that, who knows? And it is recovered. Maybe by the Falcons, but it won't matter because the clock will expire. Running. And that's it. What a disappointing ending, but what a great football game. Wyoming wins it 28-27. We'll be right back. Well, what a way to lose a football game. I say playing the alma mater. Very disappointed Falcon team. I think everybody was all excited about watching overtime. All they had to do was kick it over through the uprights, and it was overtime. But the big play of the game, our Ballas big play, after all the big plays we had, it boils down to a blocked extra point.
Yeah, well, there you go. They got that internal penetration. Guys got their arms up. Give the Cowboys credit. That's the second time they blocked one of those, and it came from inside. You got to get those arms down.
Those 2 block kicks turned victory into defeat for the Falcons.